it comes down to this just for redemption, just to save a little bit of face here.
Oh man.
Because now you get this wrong, we're going to spend the next hour and a half together, and it's going to be a little awkward.
Hello. I want to play a game.
Any plans for this evening? Perhaps a game night?
Game over, man. It's game over.
Shut up. Play the game. Play it from your heart.
26 years ago, we started playing a little game. Now, we're all gonna sit down. We're gonna finish it.
And may the odds be ever in your favor.
And here we go.
Welcome to another episode of Dice Camera Action, a mashup podcast about board games and movies where cardboard meets a silver screen. Each episode, we review a movie, and then if you're a cinephile, you can stick around for a discussion about a movie with a similar theme. This episode will be a tiny bit different. We're still doing a thematic kind of mashup between two properties. This episode will be about Thunder Road Vendetta, and we're going to be, instead of doing one movie, we're going to do a whole franchise, biting off a whole bunch more. We're going to be talking about and ranking all of the Mad Max movies. So excited about that. But first, I want to introduce our guest host for the week. First time on the podcast. We're joined by a longtime voice in the board gaming community, one of the hosts of the legendary Blue Peg Pig Peg podcast, the Blue Peg himself, and the man behind Uncle Doug's DVD bin, Kevin McAlexander. Whether he's talking tabletop games or digging through cinematic treasures from a bargain bin, Kevin always brings sharp insights, great stories, and infectious enthusiasm. Kevin, welcome to the show. I'm happy to have you on.
Wow, I don't think I can live up to that intro. That intro was really excellent. I'm an
off
idiot.
the top of the dome. I don't know if
So,
I just made that up just now.
That
yeah.
was improv, baby. You're on it, man. I like that. I have the moniker of the pun peg because I have become, I don't want to say notorious. That's not the right way to say, for making really awful puns on Blue Peg, Pink Peg. And I promise you, I won't do that here. I will not make any puns.
I got really excited about the puns, and now you're just ripping them away from me before I can even enjoy them.
What can I say? I'm just no pun.
Right on.
Right,
So, Kevin, welcome to the show. I'm really excited to have you on. We've been kind of planning this for a couple of months, probably, just sort of trying to nail down a time and what we were going to discuss and stuff like that. So I'm glad we finally were able to make it happen. Before we get into the regular stuff of the episode, there is one thing that's not, I guess it is sort of movie related, but not necessarily to the rest of this episode, that I wanted to kind of talk to you a little bit about just because I find it so fascinating. So you were recently one of the leads of a play that is called The Shark is Broken, which, if I'm not mistaken, is about the background, what's happening on the film set of Jaws in between takes. And is that sort of it? You want to maybe give us a better synopsis than I just did?
I mean, that is a good synopsis. You kind of nailed it.
Nailed it. Perfect.
So it was written by Robert Shaw's son, Ian Shaw. Robert Shaw is the actor that plays Quint, which is one of my favorite characters of all time. And Robert Shaw is one of my favorite actors of all time. So when I saw this play was happening, I was like, I gotta audition for it. Don't know if it's going to happen. I was doing a Shakespeare show at the same time. And I got pneumonia or something, and I couldn't talk. And I didn't want to go to the audition and get all the other actors sick. So I just did a video audition. And my voice was so raspy and aggressive that apparently the director was like, you know what, we'll just have that guy. He is committed to this situation. So they
did you catfish them with your voice?
A little bit, yeah. I kind of gave him a little bit of this right here, you know what I'm saying? Hey, girl, let me holler at you, you know what I mean? And so, yeah, it is exactly that. The Shark is Broken. It's called The Shark is Broken because if you don't know the Jaws lore of the filmmaking, that shark almost never worked. Mm-hmm. Because it turns out it was one of the first movies, if not the first movie, that they tried to film completely on the ocean. And mechanical things don't work so well on the ocean. There was issues with the flotation, and actually the more they used it, the heavier it got, so the less likely it was to float. I mean, it was just absolutely a disaster. So the play kind of chronicles the three protagonists, or the three main leads of Jaws. You've got Robert Shaw, Roy Scheider, and Richard Dreyfuss, and their dynamic while they're waiting to actually shoot the movie. So I was so excited to like be in this show, because Jaws, I'm gonna lay a heavy one on you here, man. My favorite movie of all time.
That's amazing. Yeah, it's probably, you know, in the top 10, 50. Like, it's one of my all-time favorite movies as well. I even have a Jaws tattoo on my hand. Right. And I'm sure listeners who have watched the videos of our podcast have noticed the Jaws poster in the background. Yeah, huge fan of Jaws as well. This is actually a play that I'm hoping that someday I'll have an opportunity to see live in person. But yeah, I haven't had that opportunity in Northern Ontario yet.
It's very funny. It's a very funny play too. And here I was thinking like, oh wow, I'm like the Jaws fan here, but I don't have any Jaws tattoos. Like, you're just coming in here one up at me. I mean, it is your podcast, so fine, you know, one up me, that's fine. But actually, the director of this show, one of the kind of traditions in the theater is a lot of times you get each other gifts, you know, for opening night or closing night, or you do a director's gift or you know, whatever. So we all kind of pooled money together, because the director, every show he directs, he gets a little tattoo to remember the show. And so we pooled money. We got him a gift certificate to his favorite like tattoo shop. And he got a tattoo of, if you remember the scene in the town hall where they're talking about, you know, the reward to go kill the shark, whether they're going to close the beaches or whatever, you know, and Quint shows up, he kind of scratches his fingernails down a chalkboard. On the chalkboard, someone had drawn like a doodle of the shark eating someone. He got that tattoo, that little like stick figure doodle, which I thought was so cool.
That's a great that's a great idea. My whole arm is a film, is like all movies. Like, a bunch of my favorite movies are iconic movies and that sort of thing. It was just interesting to like choose, what do I want from each movie? Do I want like the poster? Do I want a scene? Do I want a symbol? Do I want whatever, right? Carpet from The Shining, for example, is just part of the background tapestry of it.
Yeah.
In empty spaces and stuff like that. So it's cool to like hear about how or what another person chose to do a Jaws tattoo is something so kind of unique that's picked out of the background that isn't, you know, necessarily iconic, but like, you know what it is once the story gets told. Is pretty cool little moment there.
As a note of curiosity, how do you land on like, I want to get a tattoo of this movie? Because I love like Jaws, but I'm like, a tattoo, that's so permanent, you know, sure, a wife, a kids, you know, whatever, but a tattoo is permanent, right? So how do you land on what you're going to get a tattoo of?
Yeah, they're just like my favorite movies, right? Movies that I know like will live on and be my favorites for forever. And some of them maybe aren't my absolute favorites, but they're so iconic that it's just like fits with the theme and my love for film in general, right? So even if it's not like an absolute top 5 favorite of all time, if it's iconic and represents my love for film, it just kind of fits, kind of thing. Like, one example is that like I have the Django Unchained kind of like poster with the chains and then the 2 characters at the bottom. Django Unchained is probably like my 4th favorite Tarantino movie. Like, it's not even my favorite of his movies, but that visual is one of my favorites. That poster is maybe my favorite from his movies. And that part of the tattoo represents my love for Quentin Tarantino, even though that movie isn't specifically like, you know, it probably is one of my all-time favorites, like top 30, 40, whatever it might be. I haven't actually made a list, but yeah, that part of the tattoo just represents my love for Quentin Tarantino in general, kind of thing. So it was more just like, what are the areas of film that I want to have represented? What are the directors? What genres? Whatever. And then you kind of just come up with whatever. So that's kind of, how it came to.
Okay, all right. What's the most recent movie that you have a tattoo of? Like, because I'm like, are these like movies that were formative for you when you were younger, or like can a new movie, like, are you like, man, I really got to get a Hail Mary tattoo?
Actually,
you know?
yeah, the most recent is probably the Cabin in the Woods.
Okay, yeah.
And then I've got the Joker there as well, because that Heath Ledger performance is just will live on forever as maybe my all-time favorite performance. So yeah, the Cabin in the Woods might be the most recent, being in like 2012, I want to say, something like that.
Yeah, that's a great one. I liked Cabin in the Woods a lot. That was such a fun flip of every horror movie trope, but making it still an interesting movie. I had a good time with that one. One of the Hemsworths was in that too, right?
Yeah, Chris.
Yeah,
the Hemsworth. Yeah,
the Hemsworth. Well, you got a Liam.
Yeah,
like
I mean,
whatever.
If you had to pick a Hemsworth, is it Chris or Liam?
I mean, Jerry. I like Jerry Hemsworth. You know, that guy, I'll tell you what, he can flex his muscles or work on a carburetor. You know what I mean? Like, he knows what's up. Classic Jerry.
We're going to be talking about Chris Hemsworth a little bit later. So,
oh yeah, he does. He does show up in these Mad Max movies. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, very cool. All right, so before we move on, let's take 1 second and pay some bills. Of course, this never goes smoothly. I always have to search for it. All right, here it comes. I want to take a quick moment to shout out our sponsor, BoardGameBliss.com, which is honestly where I've been buying games for years. This isn't some random ad read. They're literally the only people I reached out to because I already love what they do, and I was relieved when they said yes so I could be fully genuine when endorsing them. They've got a huge inventory of games and are always super competitive price-wise, which is important to me. At Board Game Bliss, we believe in the magic of play. Board games spark joy, forge connections, and create unbelievable moments. We source exceptional titles from around the globe, so your table always has something exciting to offer. Whether you're just starting out or you're a seasoned pro, there's always a new favorite waiting to be found. Go to BoardGameBliss.com and find out why they're my personal favorite place to buy board games. Yeah, I have it ready to go to try to save me editing, but ultimately every time I try to load them up during the episode, it messes up or it takes too long or I'm awkward going in or out of it, and then I just have to edit around it anyways. It's not saving me any time at all.
I mean, I thought it was fantastic because I was talking to you and then all of a sudden there was another you. I was like, did he clone himself? How was he doing this? Is he Harry Potter? I don't understand how technology works.
I can't tell you my secrets.
I only ask for one secret, but we'll talk about that off air. I will say this. I have bought things from Board Game Bliss and they arrived at a reasonable price and in a reasonable amount of time. So I don't know if that's an endorsement. I don't know if they would pay me also, but I have paid them. I've given them my money. So
of all the places that you can buy games online, Board Game Bliss is one of them. Yeah. So
a pretty good one, right?
Very good one, yeah.
Okay,
I kid. All right, so today on the episode, we're going to be kind of the standard stuff. We're going to be doing some shout-outs. Kevin's got a long list of movies and games he wants to talk about, so I'm excited for that. I'll have a few myself. We're going to get into Thunder Road Vendetta, have a lengthy discussion about that game, and then we're going to rank our favorite. Again, we're going to rank all the Mad Max movies, right from the original. Was it 82? I think the first one, all the way to the most recent Furiosa. So I'm excited about all of that. Before we do, I have a little game I want to play. Are you down?
Ooh, I love games. Yeah. Is it a board game?
It's not a board game.
Darn.
Wait,
hold on a second. I have scenery back here. Hold on.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, get the Thunder Road.
I now have a copy of Thunder Road Vendetta for me.
Yeah, and I have the Thunder Road Vendetta Maximum Chrome Edition right above my noggin here too for those watching on the video. All right, so we're gonna play a game that is one of these things is not like the other basically, and it is using the character names from the Mad Max franchise. Now, I don't know if you know this, but just about every character that you see on screen has a name. Mm-hmm. But there's so little dialogue in the Mad Max movies that you don't hear any of their names, and a lot of them have really interesting and funny names.
Okay.
So I thought it'd be fun to make up a bunch of weird ones, jumble them up together. I'm going to give you 3 names. You have to figure out which of the 3 is not an actual character from the Mad Max franchise.
Okay. All right. And how many rounds of this are we doing?
I have 9 of them kind of lined up here. We don't have to do them all. We'll just kind of we'll see how it goes.
I just want to know percentage-wise, what's the pass-fail rate on this? Is I would guess 5. If I get 5 right, that's a pass.
If
8
you get
pretty exceptional.
Yeah, there are 8 of them. So 4 is barely a passing grade, but 5 is going to be. I'll be impressed if you get 5.
Is one of them Master Blaster? I know that one.
No, Master Blaster is not one of them.
Gosh, man.
I thought that one was because that's one of the few that are like just obvious. They just say it right out in front of
They
everybody.
belabor. They're like, it's actually two people, but it's Master and Black. Yeah. I can't wait to talk about these Mad Max movies, by the way. But I'm excited about this game, too. This is going to be fun.
All right, so here are the first three names. Which one is not real? Labatouche, Guzzle Grammy, and Toe Cutter.
Okay, I know Toe Cutter's real.
Yeah.
And what were the other two?
Labatouche and Guzzle Grammy.
Guzzle Grammy, like the music award. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna. Oh God, this is really hard. I'm gonna go Guzzle Grammy is not the real.
That
the
is
real
correct.
Mad Max thing.
That is correct.
All right, so at least it's not going to be a shutout.
That's right. So far, so good.
This is you gave me the easiest one
win.
up front.
Okay, here's the next one.
Okay.
Scrotus.
That's a real one.
Okay. The next one is Meat Flute. And the third one is Tauntaun Tattoo.
All right. Meat Flute is not the real one, but I wish it was.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, I think those are the easier ones I put up front to build a little bit of confidence for you there. All right, so here's the third one: Toast the Knowing, Toe Jam, and Barrel Gut, Toe Jam, or Toast the Knowing.
See, here's what I think. All right, I don't know. Okay, so I'm trying to play a little bit of psychologist here. So I think you might. I don't know how tricky you are, but I think you strike me as a smart person, Matt. You're smart, you're handsome, and doggone it, you're good enough. Okay,
the whole package.
I want you to be all in one package. So I think you might slide a toe in there, like a toe jam. Because I'll go like toe cutter, toe jam. Though they're really into this toe thing. So I think that is the not real one. It's Toe Jam.
Okay, this one you got wrong. Barrel Gut. Barrel Gut is the fake one.
God, there's so many characters that could be named Barrel Gut too.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. All right.
Okay, the People Eater.
Okay.
Stink Eye Roy. And Rictus Erectus.
Okay, there is a Rictus.
Rictus
Pretty
Erectus.
Sure. All right, so there is a
Stink
Rictus.
Eye Roy or the People Eater.
Oh my God! I mean, Stink. I went to high school with a guy we called Stink. We called him Pink Eye Roy because he kept getting pink eye from wrestling. So I'm gonna go in memory of R.I.P. Pink Eye Roy. We're going Stink Eye Roy is the fake one. Stink Eye Roy is the fake one.
You got that one too. You're doing pretty good. All right, here's the next one.
The People Eater is pretty on the nose, but I was like, I'm gonna go with Stink Eye.
All right, here's the next one: Clagtooth, Screw Loose, or Corpus Colossus.
Oh my God! Let me hear those one more time.
Clagtooth, Screw Loose, and in Screw Loose it's SCROOLOOSE. Screw Loose.
Okay.
And
right.
Corpus Colossus.
Okay, you spelled it for me, so I feel like that's probably a real one. Because you're like, I don't want him to get mixed up with the other Screw Loose. It could be. Okay, so we're gonna.
Yeah, well, I thought I struck you as a smart guy, and maybe I'm just trying to misdirect you.
Oh, I know. It's this is really making me question the faith I have in our budding friendship here, Matt. But I'm gonna work on it. We're gonna work through this together. This, not Corpus Colossum, like the part of the brain, but Corpus. What is it?
Colossus.
Ooh, I want that name to be real. And the other one was Meat Flute. No, what was it?
No, Clagtooth.
Clagtooth sounds like
Clagtooth is Guzzle Grammy's brother.
I'm gonna go Corpus Colossus is not the real one.
Corpus Colossus is a real character. The fake one is Clagtooth.
That was my second guess. I mean, I had to get pretty close to the second guess. Okay, all right. So I haven't passed yet.
Okay, so here's the next one.
This is tough.
We got Big Rebecca, maybe one of the milking mothers.
Yeah,
we got Mud Guts, and then
that's like something you get after eating at Chipotle.
That's exactly right. Which could result in the next one, Skid Marcus. So first you go on a date with Big Rebecca. To Taco Bell, and then you get Mud Guts, and then you end up with Skid Marcus.
Big Rebecca's like, I'm getting out of here. Well, okay, all right. So All right. Loose association. AC/DC wrote a song called Whole Lot of Rosie. Okay. There's a whole lot of Rebecca. Both are from Australia, probably. So I'm gonna take Rebecca.
Okay.
Skid Marcus sounds like, I mean, that's right in line with Scrotus and Boner Erectus, whatever his name was, Rictus Erectus.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that Mud Belly, Mud Tummy.
Mud
Guts is, oh, God, that could be one, too. But I'm gonna take Mud Guts as the fake one. I'm going to say Mud Guts is the fake one.
That is also incorrect. Skid Marcus is the fake one.
No.
So
hard.
You are 3-3 so far. So not terrible. Not terrible.
Okay. All right.
This is not easy.
It's not. I think what we've established is that you should be naming characters in the Mad Max franchise. Like, you got a real talent for this, man.
Yeah, I spent way too much time organizing these by difficulty so that it wouldn't be easy, but also wouldn't be impossible. Just making sure that if there were some obvious ones, that it was paired with too difficult, that kind of thing. Right. Spent way too much time on this. I disagree.
I think you spent the right amount of time.
The right amount of time.
Great.
It's working. Okay.
Yep.
I am a game designer, so, there it is. Okay. So the Doof Warrior. The next one is Cheeto the Fragile.
Okay.
And then the third one is Clam Hammer.
Oh, bro, Clam Hammer's gotta be one. That's hey, listen, you get Clam Hammer in here. He could really torque on a wrench. So Clam Hammer sounds like I worked on a construction site with Clam Hammer. I'm almost positive. So I'm gonna keep Clam Hammer. The Dwarf Warrior.
The Doof Warrior.
The Doof Warrior. That
Doof
sounds
Warrior.
so Mad Maxy. So I'm gonna go. What was choice 2?
Cheeto the Fragile.
I'm gonna take out
Cheeto, but with a D.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Cheeto the Fragile is not a real Mad Max character.
Unfortunately, Clam Hammer. Clam Hammer is the fake one.
How could you do this to me, Clam Hammer? I thought we had something. I thought we were friends. I thought I was going to get a Christmas card from you, Clam Hammer.
Oh, you never know. You never know.
Ridiculous. Okay. All right.
Okay, so it comes down to this just for redemption, just to save a little bit of face here.
Man,
because now you get this wrong. I mean, we're going to spend the next hour and a half together, and it's going to be a little awkward.
Is one of the Mad Max? Please at least tell me you put Mad Max in one of these.
No, come on. Honestly, I thought for sure you would. The Doof Warrior was meant to be an obvious one. You know who the Doof Warrior is?
Is that that guy that uswas to make those comedic fishing videos?
No. The Doof Warrior is a real character from Mad Max. What was his name? Something goes fishing. Dorf?
Yeah, I think it's Dorf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not dwarf, but Dorf. DORF. Anyways, no, the Doof Warrior is the blind guitarist, the blind heavy metal guitarist on the back of the war rig. Yeah. Okay, here's the last one for redemption. Dusty Darlene.
Right, Dusty Darlene. Mm-hmm.
Mr. Davidson.
Mr. Davidson. Come on, dude. Come on. Oh, my gosh. How do you live in a world where you're the Doof Warrior and then this is Mr. Davidson? You would be laughed out of You'd be laughed out of Bartown. There is no way.
Yeah,
you're going back to
imagine walking into a place and you're like, hey, what's going on? Hey, I'm Rictus and this is Corpus and that's Mudguts and what's your name?
Mr. Davidson.
Mr. Davidson. All right, Dusty Darlene, Mr. Davidson, and Rizdale Pell. Rizdale Pell.
Rizdale Pale.
Rizdale Pell.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm gonna go with Davidson. I gotta think that I swear he's probably the Mr. Rogers of the Mad Max universe. He wears a cardigan and he's a nice little shopkeeper or something. But I'm gonna go with him because I'm he just doesn't fit in. He just doesn't. He's not allowed.
Well, this got a little bit awkward because Mr. Davidson is in fact a real character from the Mad Max universe who I don't even know who he is. I just went through like the character names and I was looking for like Paul or like Jerry or something kind of like super. Dusty Darlene was the fake one.
Wow. And Dusty Darlene could be like 100. Everybody's covered in dust in Mad Max. You know, that was good. You know, like I said, I think my takeaway here is, number one, it wasn't a shutout. So, hey, thank goodness for that. Number two, you're really good at naming Mad Max characters. All right. So that's a pot. Listen, it's wins across the board. It's kind of like when playing board games. I almost never win. I just have the most fun. So,
which means you always win.
Yeah, exactly. Except that my points are less.
Yeah, but who's counting?
Well, I mean, I am. I'm not bitter.
I mean, we all count, right? We all, at the end of the game, everybody counts everybody's points every time. Yeah, right on. Yeah, that was fun. Thanks for humoring me. All right, let's get into our shout outs for the episode. You ready for my shout outs bumper? I'm going to make it super awkward again into one of these video things. And here it comes.
And stop shouting! I'm not deaf!
Stop shouting!
Is that from Kindergarten Cop? That's from Kindergarten Cop, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think you're right.
You know what's funny is I was listening to episodes of this podcast because it's so great, number one. But number two, like I wanted to help, I wanted to be kind of prepared. And I listened to it in audio format, and I was like, oh, he's throwing in that little, but you've got like a whole graphic with it. Like,
why not?
You know what? This is top quality.
I'm a professional.
I know, right? Man.
If you couldn't tell from my Mad Max name game, I'm a professional.
I'm over here pulling crusty DVDs out of a bin, to make a podcast. We basically string together 2 tin cans and, talk about Darlington Raceway entirely too much. I tell you, this is a whole nother world for me. It's like I've left my small hometown and I'm seeing the big wide world for the first time. So I'm excited.
I did. You just mentioned your dusty DVD bin. Mm-hmm. I didn't really give you a chance, though I mentioned some of this stuff in your kind of intro. I didn't give you a chance to kind of introduce yourself and maybe plug yourself and your stuff. So why don't you tell the people a little bit more of who you are and then we'll get into our actual shout outs.
So my name's Kevin. I am on Blue Peg, Pink Peg, board game podcast, where we talk about board games, relationships, and the interaction between the two. And sometimes we yell at each other, and it's a lot of fun. We're just a big family over there. We used to do bi-month, semi-monthly, twice a month episodes, but we kind of, at least for a little while, we kind of scaled back the amount of recording that we're doing just to kind of enjoy playing games and you're always playing the next deep dives and you gotta have new content, so we're just kind of like taking it a little easy for a while. We may ramp it back up or whatever, so but there's like 10 years worth of episodes, so go back and check those all out. Pretty much any I would think most major games that have came out from the last 10 years we've touched in some shape or form, if you want to hear a little bit about them. And it is kind of like one of those podcastings where you listen to the podcast and you're like, all right, I know my tastes align with Christina. I love Tile Lane Games. She's always got the best info. So that's going on. And I also do improv comedy. I'm in a professional improv comedy troupe. Big Lick Conspiracy out of Roanoke, Virginia. We do tour around to places that my car will get to. So that's usually pretty fun. That's actually where I met Rob, one of the hosts on Blue Peg, Pink Peg. He and I both did improv together. And one of my other improv bros, dear sweet Travis P. Terry, I don't know what his middle name is, probably Paul. He and I do a podcast together called Uncle Doug's DVD Bin. He and I share a non-familial uncle. I know you're saying you're from up there in the great north of Canada, right? And you don't have, y'all got rednecks up there though. Like I've been to Canada, there's rednecks up there.
We do, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, there's a thing in a redneck family where you have non-familiar relations. You just call people uncle or Aunt Sally, whatever it is. And he and I both share a non-familial uncle, Doug, who quite notorious around the flea market scene. And he gifted to us this giant bin of DVDs, of which we pull one out at random, absolutely at random. And why else would you cover Hudson Hawk on a movie podcast? No one does that. And we cover whatever movie we randomly pull out of the bin. There's always something going on. You know, we weirdly enough, this season we have a new owner, and she is exerting varying degrees of control over the show. It's really going great. It's not a problem at all. I'm not upset about it. It's fine. It's fine. So if you're interested in movies with a little bit of hijinks, that's Uncle Doug's DVD bin.
Cool. Yeah, I've really enjoyed. Like Blue Peg Pink Peg has become one of my favorite board game podcasts. I've really been enjoying that lately.
Awesome.
Discovered it probably in the last 3-4 months, and have kind of deep dove into a lot of those episodes. So I've been really enjoying that. And yeah, when I reached out to, I think I was talking to Christina.
Mm-hmm.
Through email and whatnot to kind of arrange this that's happening right, the magic that is happening right now. She said, well, Kevin's the perfect dude to come on the show, because he does a podcast called Uncle Doug's DVD Bin. So I immediately said, oh, I like movies. So I went and listened to a bunch of those episodes, and have really been enjoying that too. In fact, that's how I chose the movie for this episode. Is like I rang up Uncle Doug.
Yeah.
And what a character. I was just like, I need a recommendation, Kevin, I want to surprise him. What do you think? And he gave me a list of like 300 movies, and I'd never heard of any of them. So I said, screw it. And I just chose Mad Max. Yeah.
That's probably a good decision. Did he try to get you to give him a gift card? He does that sometimes. I'm sorry if he did.
He tried to tell me to go to like the closest.
Yeah.
Like those weird ATM Bitcoin, machines to try to. It was weird.
Don't even know how to spend a gift card. He ran out of Pabst before he went on his walkabout, and he just needs some. Hey, he just needs a beer or two, and he'll settle right down. I'm sorry about that. He can be so embarrassing sometimes.
Yeah, it was weird. Like 300 movies. I had never heard of a single one. Is like, I don't know how that happens. But anyways, yeah, that's what brought us to today. So let's get into our shout outs. So basically at this point, we just kind of a handful of movies and or games that we've been kind of watching, playing lately. So I'll start us off. I watched Undertone, a movie that was, mostly critically acclaimed, but did come with a little bit of like mixed reviews with, I think, the general public, just because it's a slow burn horror movie about a podcaster.
Oh.
And so have you heard of this movie?
Yeah, that one I'm interested in seeing. It's not A24 that did it, but it looks like an A24 movie, right?
Yeah, it's a little bit artsy in that way, and does have a little bit of that vibe. But no, I don't think it's an A24. In fact, I think it's Canadian made, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, right on. Yeah. It looks almost too scary for me. Like, I love horror movies, but like that one seems like one that I might. It's got, just from watching the trailer, I'm not seeing it. Is it real jump scare? Like a lot of jump scares in it, or is it more psychological horror?
It's more a slow, constantly increasing, creepy vibes movie.
Okay. Is it one of those where it's
really
like
creepy vibes?
If you look at the camera
time
right now, like imagine it's all black back here, like the camera's like shooting me, and you just keep expecting something to come out from behind me.
Yeah,
and it's
really.
Like
ratchety
like tension.
Yes, tension is a really good one. The tension is constantly ramping a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. The sound design is really, really good. It's about a girl who, so we focus on the female character. In fact, the whole thing takes place in just her house. We never step outside of the house, and there's only one other character who's her mother, who's on her deathbed, kind of upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes and kind of talks to her a little bit, and the mother's unconscious, doesn't have a single line in the movie, but so that kind of adds a little bit of like, I want to use the word grossness, but just like not a gross like person, just a gross situation, right? Like it adds to the tension of the situation that she has, like literally her dying mother in the house that she's taking care of, and her podcast is about creepy stuff. It seems like she's always the denier or the like doubter. And then her co-host, the male on the co-host, is the person who's constantly like believing in things and bringing things to be like, check this out, I heard about this. And then she's like, well, that could just be that could just be this. And so it's kind of interesting.
Like a Mulder-Scully relationship.
A little bit of that for sure. But it's really good. It's about like they were randomly, anonymously sent 10 files, 10 audio files. And over the course of the podcast, they listen to them all and a story emerges from that. And they're kind of doing some research and trying to find out what it's all about or why or whatever. And then, you know, it just gets creepier and creepier and scarier. And I wouldn't say that it's not gory. It's not full of jump scares. It's just like a complete sense of dread. Is probably how I would describe it. So not for everybody, which is why it's getting a little bit mixed reviews from like general audiences, but critically it's acclaimed and people are really liking it. And I love a slow burn horror movie that I can just sit in as it builds and stuff. I love that stuff. So yeah, I liked Undertone quite a bit.
That's one I'm definitely interested in checking out. Out of curiosity, it kind of occurred to me as we're talking. What did you think of Long Legs? If you've seen it,
I liked Long Legs a lot. It's weird. It's so weird when and you might relate to this when you watch so much stuff. It's always not always. It's mostly always a welcome thing when something is weird and strange and off kilter and kind of approaches a topic in a different way. And I liked Long Legs a lot for that. And I thought Micah Monroe was really good. And I liked it felt like a dark detective noir story. Right. And then as you get further and further into the story, the more supernatural and weird it gets. And you get into the horror elements. So I liked the pace and the morphing of that movie, starting as like this detective story into like this more I don't know, ghosty supernatural thing. Yeah,
that was kind of my thought, because you were talking about the tension and Undertone, and I was like, man, the first 2/3 of Long Legs is just a lot of kind of tension and spooky situations.
Yeah,
and
that slow burn stuff. I love it, man. I love it.
So I thought you might like that one. So.
Yeah. No, I did really appreciate it. I saw that one in theaters too, which always adds, when you watch a horror movie or a comedy, anything that's visceral with a crowd, it always just adds that extra layer of punch.
I know, right?
Yeah. What's something you've been checking out?
Ooh, okay. So I have since you did a horror, I'm going to do a not horror and then a horror. So I had actually, speaking of being a fan of Robert Shaw, when I played him, I went through and I watched a bunch of his movies I'd never seen, and I had never seen the original. I saw the remake, but I never saw the original, The Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3. And man, this movie is great. It's got this amazing 70s vibe. Walter Matthau, it's just so well constructed. It plays one of my favorite television shows of all time is Columbo. I love Columbo, and it plays a lot like an episode of Columbo. It's like an extended detective episode almost. So if you don't know, the premise of The Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3 is there is a subway car that gets hijacked by some baddies. The leader of the group is played by Robert Shaw, and Walter Matthau is sort of like the head of the subway police. And there's as they're building up to the taking of the subway car, or the subway train, there's Japanese tourists or Japanese officials from their subway system, touring the New York subway to get an idea. And then everybody's sort of talking around them because they don't think that they speak English. And then, I don't want to spoil the gag, but it's 2 minutes into the movie. So spoilers on a movie that's about 40 or 50 years old. Sorry. But it turns out they've spoke perfectly good English the whole time. They've just been sort of clowning these guys, And it's such a great ride. There's some legitimate tension in there. The bad guys are just bad enough, but also there's a few of them in there that you're like, man, I'm kind of rooting for this guy. He's not Terry. He's not the worst out of the bad guys. I wouldn't be mad if they don't catch him. You know what I mean? And kind of how it all plays out and I won't spoil the ending. But the ending is so Columbo. It's fantastic. And also just shout out to Columbo. If you haven't watched Columbo, it is probably top 5 favorite TV shows for me. It is the best detective show of all time. Forget NCI whatever and all those stupid shit. No, let me tell you. Here's what's great about Columbo is you see the murder at the beginning of the episode. You know their motivation. You know why they do it. And then, like, that's the first, and they're long episodes, you know, like, that's the first, I don't know, 20 minutes, 30 minutes of the episode, whatever, before you even get any Columbo. And then eventually Columbo shows up, and he's this sort of, you know, he's insanely intelligent, but he plays this sort of disheveled bozo.
Yeah.
And he sort of disarms people with that, his lines of questioning. And then you see him unravel the mystery throughout the episode. And you see it from, like, you already know the answer. So it's so satisfying for you as an audience person to see how he kind of unravels. And he's always like, oh, wait a minute. I've got one question. You're like, Columbo, you got him now, dude.
Oh, there he goes again.
Anyway, that's what I like about Pelham 123.
Very cool. I have to watch that one. I didn't realize even Walter Matthau was in that.
Oh yeah.
Like, I don't know. I grew up, Walter Matthau was like Dennis the Menace's you know, neighbor. And then he was what was Grumpy Old Men. That was like really the only things that I'd seen Walter Matthau in, just because I'm not old enough to have watched much of his older stuff. But yeah, I'm not sure I've seen him in anything where he's not, like, it's not a comedy.
He has comedic lines in this, in the Taking of Pelham 123. You know, he is sort of playing it a little more seriously, and there's some serious scenes. You know, it's an actiony movie, so people not everybody's gonna make it. You know, spoiler. Highly recommend it if you haven't seen it. Go. I think it's on Tubi right now, which, you know, hey, it's a free streaming service. You gotta pay nothing for it. You can just check it right out. So watch it however you can.
Very cool. Yeah, Taking of Pelham 123. So the next one I want to talk about very briefly is Inglourious Bastards. We talked about My Tattoo earlier and how Django Unchained was I really like the poster and the cover of Inglourious Bastards, but it's got a swastika like right in there. Right. So I was just like, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't get that tattoo. Just
even though, and then I'm thinking through the scenes of that movie. What's iconic? What could, but there's just so much like Nazi imagery in that movie. And that's most of what the like really interesting stuff is.
I have a pitch for you.
Okay. I'm listening.
For your Inglourious Basterds tattoo, if you want to get one. How about the distinct way that he holds up the three fingers that outs him?
That could be cool. Yes, the German 3 versus the English 3. Yeah, that could work. Yeah. Or maybe the shoe in the bar. Just her shoe or something like that. Or you know what? She kisses that napkin. Bridget von Hammersmark, her name is. She kisses that napkin. That could be kind of cool. Or maybe just, that's a bingo. I love that line so much. Yeah. Anyways, Inglourious Basterds is my favorite Tarantino movie, and I've watched it countless times at this point. And I watched it the other night just because it's a comfort movie, and I felt like watching something that I would just like, enjoy and not think about too much. And I don't have much more to say about it. Just that, like, if you haven't seen Inglourious Bastards, it is brilliant and hilarious and dark and full of tension. Like, the way he manages tones from scene to scene is unbelievable. Like that opening scene on the milk farm, not the only time we're going to talk about a milk farm on this podcast, but that opening scene on the milk farm where he's talking to the Frenchman, and they're sitting at the table, and he asks for milk, and he lights his thing, and he's so friendly, but like you just see the fear that farmer is trying to stifle, and that entire, that's probably my favorite opening scene of any movie ever. And it's so good, and it sets the tone for that movie. And then you get to, different scenes where it's like a Dominica de Coco, and that's a bingo. And like, there's so many like great, hilarious, fun lines. And then you do the bar scene where it's just like, again, the tension builds and builds and builds to the point where just like the place explodes quite literally. And yeah, I just love that movie so much. And I think that Tarantino, at least at the time, thought it was his best movie as well. And I think he said it right in the movie at the very end when Aldo carves the swastika into Christoph Waltz's forehead and says, "You know what? This just might be my masterpiece."
It is so Sergio Leone made, The Man with No Name Westerns, which are some of my favorite movies of all time. It is so coded in like Sergio Leone tension and style, but he kind of made it his own, which I just love. You know, it had a very Once Upon a Time in the West kind of feel. I don't know how he would say he was influenced by those films, but it just always has that kind of feel, just maybe a little bit more bloody.
No, Tarantino's famously a huge fan of the spaghetti western, and you see a bunch of that obviously in Django Unchained and in Hateful Eight, and even in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Just that his like part of his story is that Leo's character ends up doing a bunch of spaghetti westerns, and you see a bunch of those posters, and clearly he has a big fandom for that like the spaghetti western genre and all that, for sure. What you got?
Well, I will be surprised if you've seen this movie. It kind of flies under the radar a little bit. It is called Midnight Meat Train.
Not familiar.
As a horror aficionado, as a tattoo holder of horror, film, I would recommend this movie because I think it suffered a little bit from being called Midnight Meat Train, because you're like,
so I'm looking on Letterboxd here. Is it Midnight Man, Midnight Meatless Express, the Midnight Meatless Train, or the Midnight Meat Train?
Midnight Meat Train.
Got it. Okay. Oh yeah, I know this guy.
Yeah, it's got Bradley Cooper in it, and he plays this sort of photographer. Yeah, people are always surprised. Oh, Bradley Cooper's in that movie? He's a big star. And he plays this photographer that's sort of interested in the darker side of things, right? And he ends up on, I picked two Subway. Maybe it's because I recently watched The Warriors. Maybe I'm on a Subway kick, but I picked another Subway movie. But he ends up on the Subway, and I don't want to give anything away because I think it's such a fun ride, except to say that the Midnight Meat Train is actually literal. It is quite literal. There is a Midnight Meat Train in it. I'm just gonna, I'm just gonna leave that where it is. It gets into a little bit of like kind of cosmic-y horror almost. Like it's way better than it has any right to be. It has way better than any right a movie called Midnight Meat Train has.
Not to be confused with the Midnight Meat Flute. That's a different.
No. Midnight.
Don't
that's
even
a
look
Mad Max
that one
character,
up.
I think.
Yeah.
And I actually have, I don't know if this is going to set a precedent on your podcast, but I have a reverse shout out. I have a movie that I watched that's so bad I want to talk about how bad it is.
I've talked about bad movies for sure on shoutouts. Yeah. I call it shoutouts, but it's just like an excuse to talk about stuff.
Okay. Well, I in preparation, so I want you to know that I'm fully prepared for this episode. I watched all the Mad Max movies in one day, which honestly,
tell me you don't have children without telling me you don't have children.
Yeah, you give them enough NyQuil, they're fine. Anyway, I watched all in one day, and I was like, all right, I need something that's not Mad Max. I love stupid action movies. I'm going to check out this Jason Statham movie, The Beekeeper. Why not? I love a good stupid action movie. This is one of the stupidest action movies. And look, listen, hey, The Transporter, that's a good time. Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, that's great. Jason Statham, great in those movies. What's the other Guy Ritchie movie? Snatch, yes. I've loved many Jason Statham movies. I loved The Meg. I mean, how stupid an action movie is that? But I loved it. It was great. The problem with this one, and I'm gonna do a slight. I'm gonna first tell you not to watch the movie. Okay, that's the first thing I'm gonna do, and then I'm gonna describe the setup or inciting incident of this film. So Jason Statham plays the ultimate badass. Okay, of course he does, because he's Jason Statham. But he's retired. He's stepped away from being the ultimate badass, and now he keeps bees. He keeps bees, and he rents property from Claire Huxtable, the actress that played Claire Huxtable from the Cosby Show. I can't remember her name. Sorry, I don't remember her name. But anyway, rents property from her to keep his bees, and they're buddies. They're like friends. Okay, so she runs a charitable organization, and she gets hacked. And by those click on this link and call this phone number, we need to update your thing, and they get your password and they steal all your money. All right, so she gets. By the way, this company is not overseas. It's situated in the U.S., which is
pretty much in the same town,
right? Basically in the within driving distance of where the Beekeeper is. Okay, but in this world, they're not prosecutable or anything. You can't prosecute them for some reason. That just no. You're gonna need Jason Statham justice. So they scam this poor lady, and she, instead of calling the police, by the way, her daughter is a police officer who could probably help recover this money. She just commits suicide. Okay, not trying to resolve the situation.
I forgot about that part.
0 to 100. So now Jason Statham, the beekeeper, ultimate badass, has to go on a revenge spree a la Man on Fire to get revenge for Claire Huxtable killing herself. And I love stupid action movies. I love them, dude. Time Cop, man, Universal Soul. You give me a stupid action movie, I am predisposed. Bloods. I don't know why I'm picking all of Jean-Claude Van Damme's movies. Some of his aren't.
Because he's Canadian. You're thinking Canada right now. Yeah, he's French Canadian like me.
Yeah, that's I'm in the zone, man. I thought he was French. But anyway, I love stupid action movies. This one, the problem with it is it's a stupid action, but it's so soulless. It has no soul to it, and that's what makes it so uninteresting to watch. I swear, and look, I'm not accusing them of using AI to write the script, but what I can tell you is it is some of the worst dialogue. In Jason Statham movies don't have great dialogue to begin with, but this is like, he's the beekeeper, so he's like, I've got to protect the hive from the hornets. What are you even talking about, dude? Like, could you just say something that makes sense? Stop trying to relate
Most
everything
bad
to
action
beekeeping.
movies are bad action movies for a lack of plot or like an underwritten plot. This is not that. This is overwritten and terribly written, right? So there's like all this dumb stuff. And my favorite thing about that movie is the Hacker Central. Yeah. Do you remember what that looks like? It looks like a neon club, and it's like everybody's like there's like house music going on and lights, and it's like this hackers are in a freaking basement hiding, right? And they're like, it is not a realistic depiction, and it is just like, it's hilarious. It's bad. Don't they end up at like some at the end of the movie? They end up at like some political like uppity party or something. I don't.
Yeah. It goes so many stupid places. Also
in the same town.
Yeah, it's also in the same town. It's everything's I love to. You were talking about
it's like a planet on Star Wars where you land on the planet and the whole planet is just that one town, the one place.
Well, and he goes to the hacker den. I'm so glad you mentioned that. And he blows it up. Well, he sets it on fire, but somehow it explodes also. And if you watch the CGI carefully, the flags out front go like this: explosion. They just immediately drop back down. It is you went so far as to make the flags move. At least make them move somewhat.
Burn them
like they would.
Yeah, make them disappear or something at least.
And Jeremy Irons is in this thing, and you can tell he's like, I got a castle to pay for. Like, I'm just gonna do this.
That's a paycheck right there.
Yeah. So anyway, if you want a really bad, soulless, bad action movie, The Beekeeper with Jason Statham. That's about.
Very cool. The last thing I've got here is that I played Pirates of Maracaibo for the first time ever.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So my friend Steph Don came over the other day, and we played Pirates of Maracaibo. She had played once before and taught it to us, and I dug it. It's like there's a couple of things that I found really interesting about it. Basically, there's like a whole bunch of cards that get laid out on the table from left to right. And these cards are like people, ships, islands, like booty, like crates is another like card type. And then your ship starts at the far left, and then you move your way across all of these cards, going either 1, 2, or 3 spaces on your turn. So you could rush and go 3 every time. And then when you get past all the cards, there's like basically a round end location where when you get there, you get like a bonus action. And if you're the first person to get there, you'll get a bonus 6 points. So there is a little bit of incentive to try to stay out ahead of everybody. But if you do that, potentially you're missing on specific things that you want for your strategy, depending on what you're trying to do. And there's all kinds of different ways to score. It's very much a point salad-y thing where you're doing all kinds of different things. You can pick up like end game goals to say, like, if you have X amount of these at the end of the game, you get whatever. So then you're looking for those specific things. You can customize some of the locations on these cards a little bit as well. So there's an action you can take where you take a little crate from your player board and you place it on one of the islands. And now when you go to that island, not only do you get the thing that island gives you, but you also get the thing that you put there for yourself. And if you do that early enough, there's 3 rounds, you can get that 3 times. And then you can kind of, and when somebody else goes there, they don't get your bonus that you put there. They just get the base bonus that's on that island. So that's more or less how it plays. It's very point salady. It's, there's a little bit of engine building. Yeah, it's really good. And again, this is a criticism that listeners of the show have heard a million times. A little light on player interaction. There are a bunch of expansions, so I assume that maybe that you can infuse a little bit more player interaction, but it gets a pass because it's not overlong. You can definitely play it in it probably took us 2 hours ish with the teach and 2 new players, which isn't bad. If the 3 of us were familiar with the game, probably hour and a half. So it's light enough and quick enough that the lack of player interaction doesn't hurt it that much for me. And the puzzle is interesting enough and the theme is fun. So yeah, I really liked Pirates of Maracaibo. I definitely play again. Have you played?
Yeah. We did a review of that one. I liked it a lot too. Actually, hearing you talk about it made me like, man, I want to play that. I mean, I like Maracaibo too, but I was like, I much like everybody else, I find that I'm ending up way busier than I probably should be. So those light to medium weight games are really in the sweet spot where I'm not putting 4 hours into a game. I will say we did have a few plays where those last few turns there was some analysis paralysis right at the end. I always want to say IP instead of AP for whatever reason, but anyway, this is a movie podcast. I might talk about IPs, who knows? But anyway, I really liked this one. It didn't stay over long. It's really fun, and it is pretty variable because if I remember right, those cards can come out in different places as you go across on different plays of the game. So
yeah, and every time
amount of variability.
Every time you land on a card, most cards you kind of purchase, right? So you spend the resources of the game and you take that card to your this tableau building, and then you replace that card with a level 2 card. So the board is changing all the time. So yeah, the variability is fairly high. Yeah, I definitely dug it. I like the puzzle a lot. And I think it did enough to overcome that kind of heads down multiplayer solo kind of feel that I got from it. But the puzzle was good enough and it played in a short enough time that it didn't halfway 3/4 through the game, I wasn't thinking about that. I wasn't thinking about the solo part of it. I was thinking about the puzzle and I was thinking about the next thing. And then before you know it, we're in the end game. And, that's an indicator to me that this game transcends the fact that it doesn't have any I don't really care about what's going on with my opponents other than are they kicking my butt or am I falling behind or whatever. Yeah.
Recently, I got a game called Arborea played. Now, have you played Arborea?
I've not played it. I have seen it. It's very pretty.
It's great art. The only critique I have of the game itself, I love the gameplay. I love the art. The board, when you first look at it, is insanely busy. It is a really busy board. I think I joked with my wife. In fact, I know I joked with my wife. That's why she married me. I'm freaking hilarious, dude. But I was like, this is Tracks, the board game, because there's just a ton of tracks going kind of every different direction. But generally, you're building out a biome, putting different little critters on it that score you points. It's kind of what you're doing in the little, for lack of a better term, tableau. It's not really a tableau, but kind of right in front of you. But what I really loved about this game, and I picked two games I played recently, that the action mechanic is what I really liked in the game. Both happen to be worker placements, but they're both different expressions of worker placement, which I really like. How I always love how you can the permutations of how a simple mechanic can be used, I guess. But in Arborea, what happens is you place out your dude on for lack of a better term, they're think the long tiles or long pieces in Tetris, and they're moving across the board, kind of each round or somebody, and then you pick where you want your worker to jump off. And when your worker jumps off, he's going to be able to follow that track down to then come back to your player board, right?
Cool.
Some will come back to your player board, some of them don't. You have like your big workers that can do certain stuff that cost you a little more or whatever to get them out. So you're kind of trying to figure the timing of like when you need to come off. And the other thing, you're talking about player interaction. This is not Axis and Allies player interaction. It's not like a 4X or a war game or something like that level interaction, but there is a little bit more in here because you have shared resources. So if you generate any resources that you don't spend on your turn, which does happen fairly frequently, they're open for anybody else who wants to spend them on their. You have an open market of animals that you can bring into your little biomes that you're creating. So it's kind of an open market that if you generate one of those animals and put it out and you don't take it on your turn, now it's available for somebody else to get. So I love that that push-pull of like, no, they really need an orange. I don't want to give them an orange. I got to figure something else out. And it's neat components in it too. Like the little resource trackers are split so that like as you gain some and spend some, the little bottom piece stays where it was, so you can move it up to meat at the end of the round, like for whatever you've spent. So I just thought that was such a neat solution to the way the game functions as well. Really cool art. Really,
it's beautiful. I'm looking at the pictures on BGG. The meeples are gorgeous. The board is very busy but very vibrant and it's eye-catching for sure.
And it's not, once you've played like a little bit of the game, you're going to look at the board and it's not going to seem busy to you. You're like, I know what all these tracks do. I know, it's a pretty simple game to learn. I would say this is a play it maybe one, if you really like it, play it maybe once every 6 months. It's not a huge amount of variability. I do have the expansion with it that adds like a river or something that I haven't played yet, so I don't know if that adds a ton of variability to it. But it was a game I liked enough that it's going to stay in my collection. Like every time I've played it, I've been like, man, Arborea is a seriously fun game.
Awesome. Cool. Yeah. It caught my eye somewhere. I don't know. I don't remember if it was at a store or if I was looking at something online, but it caught my eye and I remember looking up the mechanisms and thinking, oh, this could be for me. But,
and in the interest of visibility, what do you call it? Transparency. That's what I'm looking for. Alley Cat did provide me a copy of this game, but it was 2 years ago and I've already talked about it on another podcast. So I'm not,
you've already fulfilled your obligations.
Yeah, I fulfilled my obligations. I still like it enough to talk about it and play it. So
awesome. Cool. Yeah, I'll have to see if I could maybe track that one down. It looks really cool. It looks like it might be up my alley. Yeah, very cool. You got anything else you want to talk about before we move on? I see one more here.
One other game, Phoenix New Horizon. DeVere sent me a copy of this game as well. Well, they didn't send me a copy of Arborea, but I was sent a copy of this game, Phoenix New Horizon by DeVere. But I liked it enough to talk about it as well. It's apocalyptic too. Kind of ties in a little bit with our themes here. And the world was destroyed, some such nonsense. You've been living underground, now you're coming out. And there's a map of the main board is a map of the U.S. and you're trying to put out your, I don't know, we call them secrets. They're like little round discs, but they represent your little military bases. And there's basically contracts that you're trying to fill as you place your little dudes, your little secrets out on the main board. To populate those areas, somebody has to put out a regenerator, which is the little energy token. A la Shackleton Base, somebody's got to put out the solar panel before anybody can build anything. So you kind of got to put that into the space. And that part of the game is fine. I like that part. And also a nice detail for the main board, the map, is there's just board game references all over it. There's like Essen Canyon and, all kinds
I see a
of
dice tower there. I'm looking at the maps
exactly. Now. Yeah, all kinds of fun little references on there. But I loved, again, it's a worker placement. I love the action mechanics of the game because the action board, there's 3 layers. And you have to pay a resource to move your guy up a layer, right? And there's a lot of decisions because it's those actions kind of get juicier as you go up, but they get more expensive as well. Plus, at the end of the round, you're reset to the side of whatever level you're on. So you could take, like, say, like you move up to the second tier, you could stay on that second tier to get actions on that second tier without going to the third tier. So you're kind of trying to make decisions as far as when to move your guy up. And you might also, on a turn, you might just move them up and wait. You might go like, oh, I don't want to take an action yet. I want to see what happens with maybe somebody's going to put out one of those regenerators so that then I could build the thing that I want to build. And as you get to the third tier, if you take when you take a certain action, it sends you all the way back to the bottom. So potentially you've got, I think it's 3 workers. You could potentially take 4 actions on a turn once you get to that third. So you can kind of start to build some synergy between these different levels of the action mechanics or actions that you can take. I thought that was just really cool and neat. Not a super heavy game, but it ends up giving you a little bit more to think about as you're playing it. And I played it with my friends, the Sykes brothers, and they were talking smack to each other the whole time. So that just added even more enjoyment to it. So really, really enjoyed Phoenix New Horizon. That's another one that if you haven't tried it out, I think you'd probably dig.
I'm not sure I ever mentioned this term before, but I kind of use it in my own head all the time. And maybe you could tell me if it's a good thing, but I feel like it should be integrated, like for my preferences, it should be one of the stats on BGG, but I call it the PIT ratio, the player interaction to time ratio. Because if there's 0 player interaction, it's totally fine if the game's 45 minutes to an hour.
Right.
If the game's 2-3 hours plus, like, I better care what my opponents are doing, because I'm going to spend a ton of time on my phone, and I do not want to be doing that.
Right.
And if I find myself on my phone a partial way through the game, it's an indicator.
Right.
So yeah, the PIT ratio. What's the PIT ratio like on Phoenix New Horizon?
I would say it plays pretty quick. Very light on interaction. I mean, people can take spots that you might want to take on the action board, and people can take spots on the main board that you might need for your scoring, and they can also kind of swoop in and take the contracts or whatever they're called, to score those points. So they can take those away from you. But as far as like, oh, I can't bump someone off the board, that type of interaction, like I always say, like, all right, 1v1, like chess or something like that is like the highest level of interaction you can get. Yeah. This is about 10 steps down from that. So there is some player interaction, but if you think about old school board games, they were all like really heavy player interaction. And I think the industry's kind of moved away from that in a lot of ways, because a lot of people find it uncomfortable to get beat up in a game, and also you think about the way games are published and sold these days. It's a lot of I got to learn this game on a convention floor. And if I play 2 rounds of it, I'm constantly getting beat up the whole time. I'm not going to like that game.
For sure.
So it ends up being a lot more like, solitaire, but together. So it's not bad if it's just, if you want higher player interaction,
often worker placement games are enough player interaction. If the action selection, if the spaces are scarce enough and important enough, if there's enough tension around, like, I'm building up towards going to this specific spot and I can see you have the resources for it. And now I'm watching you to see if you go there first, or if I should take it now because I know that you do have the resources to do it, like, that kind of thing. Or Shackleton Base is a perfect example of what a pure Euro game, but the interaction of the area majorities of the lines within that like that is like chef's kiss. I just want to care what my opponents are doing on the turn. And if a game can do that, then great. So yeah, if New Horizon has a bunch of like shared resource, or not shared resources, but that was Arborea, right? But like shared contracts that you're going after, worker placement stuff. If I care enough about what you're doing on your turn, then yeah, it sounds really cool. And the theme of that one is right up my alley, like post-apocalyptic sci-fi. Like, that is my jam right there. So you just put 2 games on my list here, Kevin. What are you doing? Stop it.
I mean, hey, you know what? You could go to boardgamebliss.com and purchase these. They probably have them for sale. I don't know. I haven't looked at it. If not, maybe they can special order it for you. But yeah, it's what we're here to do. I actually have a tag team is a game that I play because you guys recommended it off in your Face Off episode. So I just recently reviewed it on Blue Peg Pink Peg. So you're rubbing off on me over here, man.
Cool. Yeah, I'm going to take all the credit for you guys playing that game.
You should. Good job.
I'm an influencer.
Yeah, no, that's So that's my those are my two shout outs. I just, out of curiosity, I always like to find out what people have sitting on their shelf of shame that they want to play next.
The thing I want to play next that is on my shelf of shame, I literally have a specific shelf that has a bunch of games that are high priority for me for different reasons. Games that have been sent to me by publishers that I have to prioritize to fulfill those obligations. Games that I recently got that I'm excited to play, and just games that I have to play for the podcast. So what is the thing that I'm most interested in playing right now? Probably Torchlit, which is a new trick-taking game from Allplay. Have you heard of Torchlit?
No, I bet Rob has, though. Rob's our trick-taking guy.
Okay. Yeah, so Torchlit is a trick-taking game where there is, and like I had the Allplay guy explain it to me very quickly at Canada Plays, the Asmodee event that I went to recently. And so I haven't played it. I haven't read through the rule books or the rule book, but he did explain it to me very briefly. So I'll do my best to just repeat what he said. But basically, it's a dungeon-themed, you're going into a dungeon fighting monsters. And it's a trick-taking game. And
I do know this. Yes,
you do?
Yes,
okay.
I have seen this. I haven't played it, but I have seen it. Yes.
Okay. So essentially there's, I think, 7 locations, and they're just like side by each, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And everybody starts off the side of the first board. And then every time you win a trick, I think you move up the board. And I think the first thing that you do at the beginning of the round is you take a card, you place it face down in front of you, and that's your bid. And the cards go from 1 to 7 as well, I believe. And your goal is to have your dude land on the location where the location that matches your card number. So if you're sort of your bid, right? And you can, so let's say you win 4 tricks. In theory, you would end up on the 4th location. Therefore, you want to put the number a 4 card face down in front of you as your bid. Okay, that's kind of the idea. But in this game, if the rank of the card that you played, win or lose, if the rank of the card that you played, the number on the card matches the card that did win, you also get to move up. So you're not just guessing how many tricks you're going to win, you're also guessing how many good cards you have that you'll be able to do that. So you're playing strategically around that. And then at the end of the round, before you play your very last card, you could choose to swap it. So the very last card in your hand, you could swap it with the card that's face down. So there's a bit of a moving target in terms of your bid. You can change at the last second, so you might hold on to a specific card as you go as well. There's more to it than that. Like when cards are at the end of a trick, whoever won the trick can choose, I forget what the rules are, but can choose some of the cards and place them underneath some of these locations, these dungeons. And then based on how many cards are there at the end of the round, you'll gain points for where you're sitting or whatever. So it's a fairly simple trick-taking game with a couple of extra layers of mechanics involving bidding and movement along this board. You're trying to match things up. So it seems really interesting, and Allplay sent me a copy to cover, so I'll either play it and shout it out another episode, or maybe even include it as one of the main reviews. So we'll see what happens with that. But that's probably the game that I'm most excited to get to the table right now. I just love trick-taking games, so any variation or weird thing that they can do with them, I'm in to check it out.
Okay. All right. Right on.
Yeah. What about you? Do you have a shelf of shame game that you're excited about right now?
Always, man. Actually, speaking of that, I have my co-host over on Blue Peg, Big Peg, Brandon, works for Inside Up Games, so I have all the crits and tricks, right. And like that whole, I backed that on Kickstarter and got that whole shebang. He won't even send me free games from the company he works for. What a guy! I gotta back him on Kickstarter, But we're all friends. Well,
you did call him your co-host and not your friend, so that says something.
He's my co-host first. He's my friend second. Okay, I'm angry because he's more handsome than me. That's what bothers me.
That's not fair.
So I want to get those played. I got from 25th Century the first Tsar, Ivan the Terrible, and I've been reading a lot of Russian literature, so I'm kind of excited to try, as you do. I'm just excited to play this one. It is, it's Ivan the Terrible. It looks like a medium weight Euro game, so I was just like, I need to get the rule book out and learn this one. And then funny enough, I opened up, I don't know, 2 years ago, bought a copy of Woodcraft, the sushi game. And I just recently I busted it open. I read the rule book. I set it up. My wife and I were going to play. We played like a half a round, and she's like, "I'm so sleepy. I'm just going to go to bed." And I was like, I was just getting ready to craft a dice over here. Yeah, so anyway,
I just collected all my blueberries, and I'm ready to go.
Yeah, right.
How dare you?
Technically, I guess I've played it, but I haven't played it. So that's probably the next game I want to get played, because it is literally very shameful that I've only played like the round of this game and had to pack it up. So
I never know how to pronounce the name. I think it's Suhi. Vladimir Sushi.
Right.
I don't know. Anyways, big fan.
I did say sushi like he was like,
Yeah, you're like the sushi game. I'm like, what? I thought this was a Russian game, not a Japanese game. What's happening here?
Sushi. That guy did Underwater Cities. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. That guy.
Anyway, that's my shelf of shame right now. So I'm gonna get those played at some point.
Awesome. All right, let's get into the good stuff here. So we're gonna talk about Thunder Road Vendetta. So Thunder Road Vendetta, published in 2023 by Restoration Games, designed by a whole bunch of people: Dave Chalker, Brett Myers, Noah Cohen, Rob Devio, Justin D. Jacobson, Jim Kiefer, Brian Neff, and Mr. Meat Flute. No, I'm just kidding. Art by Marie Bergeron and Garrett Kaida. It plays two 4 players, 5 with an expansion, in 45 to 75 minutes. The weight on BGG is 1.96, and it currently has a rating of 7.9 on BGG. Cool. So yeah, Thunder Road Vendetta. Do you want to take a shot at, like, have you played the expansions, or have you just played the base game at this point?
Nope, just played the base game. So
okay,
I've played a reasonable amount of the base game, but I'd be excited to hear about the expansions.
Cool. So why don't we do it this way? And I don't have a ton to say about the expansions. I have played most of them at least once. So I'll do a very high level overview of what the expansions are and what they add. But why don't you just give us a quick rundown of how the gameplay is?
Yeah, absolutely. So you're going to start out. You've got your game board set up. Usually, I think it starts with 3 tiles. There's little hazard tiles on it. There's a road. There's varying types of terrain. You got road, you got sand, and you got mud, basically. There's also impassable terrain, whatever you want to call it, big rocks, that kind of thing in the way. And you're going to have your 3 cars, your small one, your medium, and your big one. On a turn, you're going to roll your dice. You have 4 dice. You can assign, you're going to assign a movement. So let's say you have a 4 pip die. You're going to set that on one of your dashboards for whichever car you select, your big, medium, little, and you're going to send it down the track 4 spaces. Okay, you can any of the 3 spaces that are in front of you at any given time, you can kind of go through those. I'm messing up the sequence on the turn a little bit, so just bear with me. You can select your dice, you place it on your dashboard. That's how many spaces you can move. With another die, you can, once per essentially turn of the game, you can take your die and place it on your command board, which lets you kind of take 4 different actions, and they're coded to whatever the pit value is. One of those is repairing your car. One of those is nitro, which gives you a little extra movement. One of them is sliding, which lets you, like, I think it's that might not be the right jargon, but you can kind of pass through the
drift. I think it
is without triggering a smash or a crash. Nope. Slam. That's what it's called. That's the jargon. Without triggering a slam, which we'll talk more about in just a second. Or you can activate your helicopter, which just drops down wherever you put it and shoots another car, which is awesome. So you can do your command board, then you move your car and resolve whatever your movement is. The slam, as I mentioned, when you move into a space with another car, if you are the larger car, you're the car moving in, you set your car on top of the other one. You roll a dice. One die is going to tell you whether it's the top car or the bottom car that's going to get the reaction, and another dice is going to tell you where that car goes. So you move the car there, which can trigger all sorts of pandemonium.
This is where the fun starts.
It really is where the fun starts. So that's kind of your slam. There's different hazard terrain that you can go over, which are literally tiles that you flip over. You can get a mine, which does some damage to your car. You can get a little wrecked car gets dropped out, which then triggers a slam. And then the rest are just like, you get slippery terrain, which like sends you in a direction that you use the dice for, that kind of stuff. The end game trigger for it is a little different at 2 players, and we can talk about this as we get deeper into it, but at 2 players is a little different than at 3 or 4 players. At 3 or 4 players, the end game is triggered when, in other words, you just keep setting out more tiles and making the track longer and longer until one person is eliminated. You're eliminated by basically getting 2 damage on all of your cars, or you can have a car eliminated by getting it knocked off the track or running into some of the hazardous terrain. Or if your car ends its turn in the space with a helicopter, even your own,
that
always
car
funny
gets when that happens. Yeah,
it just gets bombed. Somebody drops a Molotov on it. I don't know. So basically, in the 3 or 4 player game, after somebody's eliminated, at that point, the finish line comes out. First person to the finish line, wins the game. And 2 players, when you get to the 5th race tile or the 5th board track tile, that's going to be basically the finish line, or if the other person's just completely eliminated. And the final thing on your turn that you can do is you shoot at other cars that are near you. That's it.
Yeah, at the end of your turn, if there's a car immediately in front of you in one of the 3 spaces in front of you, you can just shoot at it, and you roll a die to see if you hit it. And the bigger the vehicle that you're shooting at, the more likely you are to hit it, which is a nice touch.
And same way with the slam, the bigger the vehicle you are, the less likely you are to get knocked around. So, like, if you bump into a smaller
the more agency you have, yeah,
exactly. So that is kind of the gist of it. I mean, it is a pretty straightforward game. You can learn this in about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I think the first thing I would say about this game, the components and the art are awesome. Like, yeah. I wish I painted minis, because I think you could have a lot of fun painting these little cars.
Yeah.
Now, you got the looks like you have the deluxe Kickstarter.
Yeah,
did they come with a wash or something?
Yes, they did. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, they did a really good job with the colors and the wash. They look great. And before I had this one, I actually washed my own, and they also looked great. Like, it didn't take much, and you really should. And I do not paint. I've never painted anything before I painted these things. And I just went to the store, and I'm like, somebody told me to get a wash. Is that a thing? I didn't even know it was a thing. And then the guy's like, yeah, here's what you need. Well, I just did it really quickly, and it turned out great. And then immediately after doing it, I'm like, everybody must do this. It should be mandatory, because they look too clean. And this is this is the Dusty Doomsday apocalypse, right? Like, you can't have a clean car. But they look great.
It does occur to me, looking at the box cover, which I liked the game enough to keep it in my collection. But the box cover I was like, this just looks rad on a shelf. It reminds me of Death Race 2000, which might have actually been a better
another
movie
Jason
pick.
Statham movie.
Yeah, another Jason. Well, the original with David Carradine.
Right.
Come on now. Yeah, we're not doing any. Well, I don't know. Maybe we do both. Anyway, doesn't matter. I love the art of the box cover of this game. Now, you talked about player interaction. What do you think about player interaction? This one is pretty high, right?
It is very high. Yeah, you cannot. This is not a game you can take too seriously. There's a little bit of strategy and definitely some agency there, but ultimately, like, some wacky things are going to happen. People are going to lose their vehicles on the first turn sometimes, just because crazy things can happen. And it's like, you just have to be prepared to laugh at yourself. And it's just like, you're there for the experience and not to try to, like, you're going to try to win, sure, but like, you're really there to just like mess with your friends and have a laugh and try to do the silliest things possible.
It definitely, I lost 2 cars in the first turn of the game one time, because everybody was bunched together, and that slam, when it happens, cars are just bouncing everywhere. And when one car gets slammed into another, you have to resolve it for every single car that gets hit.
That's
and
right.
it can go really bad really bad for you when it does. Oh, and there's also when you get damage to a car, some of the damage tokens have a stunt on it, I think. So there's a stunt dice that you roll, which basically is a mandatory move for you when you get this damage. And it's two different types. I always forget the difference without like looking at the tile, but essentially I think you have to move one, whatever the total value of the dice is, you have to roll the direction dice for each movement. And then the other one, you just move it all in whatever direction it tells you to go.
I forget which is which, but yeah, it's hilarious. Like if you roll the like 4 on that like distance die, and then you roll the direction die and you have to move 4 in that direction, and sometimes that just like launches you right off the board. Or right into like a big rock, or right into an opponent, and then you got to resolve a slam. It's just like those are the types of things that can happen. It's hilarious. Another one of the types of damage is a shrapnel, I think it's called. Basically, you just roll a direction die, and a piece of shrapnel flies off your car in that direction until it goes off the board, striking everything in its path, damaging other cars on the way. So those are the types of things that can happen in this game, and it's hilarious, and it gets exacerbated quite a bit when you start including the expansions. So I'm looking at some of the terrain, like you mentioned, the terrain in the base game is either just like road space, which is like asphalt colored. There's off-road space, which is like, just like dirt colored. And then there's a muddy space, which is like slow. So it costs you 2 movement spaces or 2 movement pips off your die to move into that space. Unless it's your very last movement from your pip, then you can move into it. But otherwise, it's just really slow to go through mud. And then there's impassable places where if you hit this like rock or wreck or house or like mountain, you just blow up and die. In the expansions, there's toxic goo, which makes you just like immediately stop and finish your turn right there. You can't move anymore.
Okay.
There's desert glass, which essentially acts like ice. So when you move into that space, you have to continue moving in whatever direction you were going. So if you came into that space on an angle, you have to go into the next space on that same angle, no matter how it happened. Oh, there's also oil slicks, but oil slicks are in the base game as a hazard. So if you hit an oil slick, you just got to roll the movement die, and then you move your car in that direction, and then you just keep going. And then there's also ramps in the expansion. So if you hit a ramp, you'll roll that distance die to see how far you go off the ramp.
All right. Like, you didn't have me sold on the expansion until you said there was ramps.
There's ramps.
Now I'm like, man, I'm gonna have to get that expansion.
The expansions are totally worth it. There's also fire. So if you end up in a fire space, your car catches fire. And then from then on, every time you move that car, you also have to roll the fire die. And the fire die is mostly good.
Oh, okay.
One of the 6 sides of it is the fire gets extinguished, and then you're just not on fire anymore. One of the 6 sides is your car explodes and you die. And then the rest of them are bonus movement. So you either move 1, 2, or 3 extra spaces because your car's on fire and you're just driving faster.
Right.
So those are the kinds of things. There's also salt flats. Salt flats lets you use the road die, which is a bonus movement that you can use if your entire turn is on asphalt. So you start on asphalt, every movement is on asphalt, and you end on asphalt. You can use that road die, which is rolled at the beginning of each round, and it's either 1, 2, or 3, and then you get to move extra, because you went faster on the asphalt. Well, if you hit the salt flat space, no matter what type of territory you went through, whether it's mud or doesn't matter, you get to use that bonus road die. Yeah. So then, those are just the territory expansions or terrain, spaces that are in the expansion. There's also a whole bunch of different hazards that are included as well. 2 of them here from one of the expansions. One of them is called a quake, which we played this afternoon, and this one got resolved, and it's pretty fun. But the quake is that you roll the direction die, and every single vehicle on the table has to move 1 space in that direction, which is hilarious. Like, thematically, it's so perfect and so funny. And then there's a sandworm, and it basically says to eliminate the road vehicle that is the furthest back on the board. So if whoever's furthest back gets eaten by the sandworm. So there's all kinds of like stuff like that in the game. The 2 expansions, I guess the 3 expansions that I really want to highlight, I guess 2 of these things are in one expansion. It's called Big Rig, and the final Final Five. I think it's called Big Rig and the Final Five. Yeah, that's what it is. The Big Rig and the Final Five. So it comes with a big rig, which is like amazing if you're like a Mad Max fan, especially if you're a Fury Road fan, because the big rig in that is just like amazing. But yes, you have this big rig that takes up 3 spaces, like 3 terrain areas, and it sort of acts like a train, and you always lead with the front. So if you do a diagonal, every like next piece in your quote unquote train follows the one before it. So if I move on a diagonal, the next one follows into the space behind it, and the next one follows into the space behind it. So it kind of like worms around. So that's how it moves. But there's 3 sections of it, and they each act like a large vehicle. Mm-hmm. And this rig moves slower, like your dice only go 1, 2, or 3, but it has all kinds of tricks. You can shoot forwards or backwards. So you have a forward arc, but you could also shoot backwards. You can drop hazards. So drop a hazard immediately, and you don't know what they are. You just grab one of the random hazards from the supply and you drop it. So that's super fun. You can launch a missile, and basically you choose the space exactly 2 spaces in front of you. And then you roll the damage die, and any vehicles within one, like adjacent or in that space that would get hit by that damage die gets hit. So you could like hit 2, 3, 4 vehicles with one shot as one of your like actions, and it can do all kinds of things. And one of the things that's neat about it is that it basically, the only way it dies is if it takes 6 damage. It doesn't die by hitting impassable objects. If it hits an impassable object, it just turns it into the desert space and takes the damage.
If it's left behind on that very last tile, that tile gets pulled, that you lose it then, right?
Only if it's the head. Only if it's the head unit. Of the 3. Okay. Yeah.
Right.
So the other 3 can just kind of hang off and as you move forward or whatever. But yes, there's 2 ways that it can die. One is if it takes 6 total damage, and the other is if it gets left behind on a road space or whatever. But it's really cool. It's considered a quote unquote massive vehicle or something like that. I think it called it in the rules. Basically, it can slam, but it never moves. You don't even have to roll the red like top car or bottom car. You just roll the direction die, and the other vehicle always moves, which can also result in some hilarious outcomes, because I played today with my boys, Charlie and Remy, who are 6 and 9. I just wanted to have like a refresher game before this podcast. So we, after they got off the bus from school, we pulled it out, and I played the big rig, and Remy slams into my back piece. Okay. Rolls the direction die, and he has to go forward. So he goes from my back to my middle. And he rolls it again, and it goes forward and to the left, and I was in the middle of taking a turn, so ends up on my front, like my engine, basically. So it has to roll again, comes back onto the middle space, rolls again, comes back onto the back space, like 4 or 5 times in a row, and we're just like howling, like we're just laughing. It's the funniest thing, especially a 6-year-old finds it hilarious, right? And that a 6-year-old's laugh is so infectious, and we're just like having a great time. So yeah, the Big Rig expansion is really cool, and the Final 5 part of the Big Rig expansion is motorcycles. So you have 5 motorcycles that are all considered small cars, and they can only take, I think, 1 damage each, but they can be repaired, same as the other vehicles, and they're faster and more difficult to hit. I think they're almost impossible to hit in terms of like using the helicopter and stuff. I forget all the rules around the motorcycles, but they're really cool and very thematic. So that's really cool. There's another expansion where everybody has asymmetric powers. So everybody starts with their own abilities, and then you can also give each of your vehicles a weapon, missiles or launchers or extra protection or machine guns or all kinds of things. So there's a big stack of cards that you can like put on each of your vehicles. So those are more for like advanced play if you really want to like, you know, dive deeper into it. One of the expansions, instead of using dice, uses cards. So you draw a hand of cards, and then your cards will tell you the movement, and then so it gives you a little bit more agency as opposed to like the luck of the roll. So if you want to take a little bit less randomness, if you want to take a little bit more randomness out of the game and have a little bit more control, that's another thing you can do. So the expansions are really cool in that way. You can really kind of like modulate the game and kind of pull some levers to kind of make it what you want. So yeah, there's lots of cool expansions. The last one I want to talk about is Carnival of Chaos. I almost had to turn around here to remember what it was called. Carnival of Chaos, which is basically changes the game mode altogether. It's not a race anymore at all. It's an arena battle. So it's like a big circular, and instead of having these like arrow like directions, it's like hexes. And basically you're just running around this board shooting at each other. And then at the end of each round, everybody's trying to land on a pillar. And then the pillars kind of rise. And then anybody who's on a pillar at the end of a round will get bonus points. And then you're trying to, and if you blow somebody up or if you damage somebody, you get points. It's basically a point system. And so I played that at a convention once at the full player count, which is either 5 or 6. And it was complete chaos. And, and it was a lot of fun. But that's a game I would probably only play at like at a con or at a party or something like that. That mode is just like complete chaos, but it's really cool. And the main villain character from that game is called Tina, which I'm sure is a nod to Tina Turner from Beyond Thunderdome. So yeah, I think that's all I'll say about the expansions. Essentially, like, you know, there's just so much modularity involved. It is a little bit of a double-edged sword though, because since I've got this huge box, I've played the game a lot less. And that's just because, like, you know, anytime my kids are like, can we play Thunder Road Vendetta? It used to be like, sure. And then you would just grab it, throw it on the table, and then you're just ready to go. Now I have to grab this huge box, pull it out, empty the whole box to try to find the components that I need, because it's all stacked really neatly in there. And then like, you know, one of my kids is like, oh, I want to play the big rig. Okay, pull out the big rig. What are the rules for the big rig again? I haven't played with the big rig in so long, you know? So today that was a good example of that. You know, I pulled it out. It probably took us like 25 minutes to like pull it out, set it all up for me to read through the thing. And then we played the game and it was done in 30 minutes. We were done in 40 minutes, you know, which normally is a good thing. Like, you know, we finish a game in 40 minutes. We had a great time. We laughed, whatever. But like the setup and takedown took longer than it took to actually play the game in this case. So it's interesting. Like I actually, you know, purposely this time stacked the pieces in the box, because there's like layers, trays, right? Stacked it in such a way that like the stuff I'm least likely to use, I put at the bottom, so that like it's less of a daunting task to like pull it out next time. So yeah, it just feels like, you know, when it's like, do you want to play Thunder Road Vendetta? It's like, yeah, I do, you know, but okay, I mean, list. And then I'm glad I did it. Of course, it's a blast of a game, but yeah, it's just a lot. It sounds
like to me, you just need to buy a second copy of the game. Like you have the base game, and then you have all your expansion stuff. You know, and I'm sure Restoration Games would be happy to. I bet if you went to BoardGameBliss.com, you could probably buy another copy of Thunder Road Vendetta
at a very reasonable price. Yeah,
you at a very they'll get it to you in 2 shakes of a lamb's tail. I will say you've really hit on like my Achilles heel with expansions, because, you know, if you own a lot of games, you know, it's very rare that you play the same game a few times in a row. Like, you know, you pull something off the shelf, you relearn the game, and then you got to relearn the expansion. It also increases the setup time. It also increases. So very rarely am I an expansion person. There's a few expansions that I think are essential, like the, you know, the Feast for Odin expansion, the Norwegians expansion, or whatever it is. I think that is essential for that game. But, you know, some of the Prelude with Terraforming Mars, you got to get this game going. Just do Prelude. Yeah. You know, I think that one's probably essential. But back to Thunder Road Vendetta. I think you were really hitting on the nail on the head there. It's the chaos of this game that really brings a lot of the fun, and the dynamic of the people that you're playing with at the table. I played this with my wife, my mom, my stepdad, and they are not gamers. They play some games. Generally, I've just started. I take a game over there anytime I go over there, and if they want to play, I'll set it up. I'll teach it. If not, hey, no big deal. You know, and this was a way for our family to confront our tensions with each other, and it ended up being so fun. But one word of caution: if you are someone who doesn't like, you know, people beating you up, don't get out ahead of everybody, because everyone is going to try to
they will target you. Yeah,
if you are currently in the lead. So it is that I don't know if you call it King of the Hill syndrome or whatever, but like everybody's going to attack you if you're getting out the first. And you talked about there being some agency, and yeah, there's a little strategy. Like maybe you try to get your small car out there front, and there are some neat decisions you get to make sometimes. Like sometimes you might go, I'm going to blow up my own car. Because it's in my way, and B, next round I get another dice to increase the movement of my smaller car, right? Because if you have you've lost a car, you've got a dice left over. You can add it to your console for that particular car to get one extra movement, and that might make the difference. So you could make some pretty neat decisions with the game. But you have to be in love with chaos to really kind of get the most joy out of this game.
Yeah, you're playing for the chaos. That's the whole point of the game, is just to have a laugh at the weird, funny, hilarious, silly things that could happen. Just to put a bow on the expansions, I would highly recommend if you have Thunder Road Vendetta or you're thinking about getting it. I'm not sure I would do the like full big huge box thing. I would recommend the big rig and the Final Five. It is really cool to play with that big rig. Like it is so much fun to be like driving down the center of that thing, and then all of the cars around you are like buzzing around, and you're like shooting them and like causing chaos, and you just feel like this big immovable object. It's super fun, and it's also fun to like gang up on it if you're not the big rig. Right. So like there's a lot of fun to be had around the big rig. The motorcycles are really cool, but the highlight is the big rig in my opinion. And I don't even know which expansion it is, because this box came with all of the expansions, so I don't know what it's called, but whichever of the expansions comes with all those new terrain types, the ramps, the fire, those are the two main ones that are just a blast. But like, yeah, the new terrain types really add, we talked about where the fun of this game is. It's in the chaos. Those new terrain types and the new like hazards and stuff add a lot to the game and add to that fun of that chaos for sure.
We played this, and I think one came out the year before, but Heat came out the year before Thunder Ribbon, and they were both like sort of racing car games or whatever, and everybody liked Heat. I liked Heat. Heat's fun. It's a very fun game, but I think I liked this one a little bit better because, in Heat, you get the cards in front of your hands, and if somebody's a math whiz or whatever, they can math it out. Like they have a definitive advantage in this game, which feels disingenuous to like a race game in general, at least in my opinion. With this game, it's just chaos. There's chaos that happens, and you just have to be able to adapt to it. And I think that that's what really makes this game kind of shine and stand out. It's not complex gameplay. It's wild it has that many designers because, I mean, I guess, they kind of, it's restoration games, so they're going to, What game was this originally? What game was this originally based on?
I think it was just called Thunder Road.
Was it? Okay.
If I'm not mistaken.
Because I've never played the obviously the original implementation of it. So it's amazing it has so many dice because it is a very kind of simple game. One of the things
Thunder Road 1986. It looks like
probably inspired by Mad Max.
It looks pretty cool.
Or Death
Yeah,
Race.
well, you know what? Yeah, it's definitely this one. I'm looking at the pictures and it looks very, very similar. Yeah, so it's just called Thunder Road. But 1985 was when Beyond Thunderdome came out. So like, yeah, 86 they would have been working on that game and released it right in the hype of that trilogy.
I'm also again, it's a fairly simple game, but I like to always criticize or compliment the quality of the rule book. This is a good rule book. Lots of pictures. I'm a picture guy. That compelling book about that big red dog, I want to see that big red dog go into a big dog house. You know what I mean? And so this has lots of pictures, good explanation. I don't know that I've ever played one game of this. Generally, it's you play one, you'll re-rack it and want to maybe play at least one more, just to kind of see what happens. So I do think it lends itself to that. I think it's a very friendly, approachable game for new gamers as well.
Yeah, I mean, I played with my 6-year-old today, right? And though he's not like making the best decisions maybe and whatever, but like he won today.
Yes.
Like that can happen. And he had a blast. You know what I mean? So that's like, what's better than that?
So you mean he's not winning Gaia Project against you, but he will win Thunder Road Vendetta.
You sit there and you play Gaia Project with Daddy.
He's just moving stuff
I
around.
know it's been 4 hours. You sit there.
He's gonna get, you know what? They'll age up, and he'll be beating you at whatever the next big game is.
For sure, yeah. His older brother Charlie is more of the gamer. He's 9 years old now, and he's been playing games with me for like 4 or 5 years, and slowly graduating. Like he plays games like the White Castle with me. He'll play Red Cathedral. He'll play Bus. He plays anything that doesn't have a lot of language. That's just mostly iconography, like he'll play. And the odd time he beats me at these games, so it's fun. I bred a little board gamer, and it's great. Yeah, Remy will come around for sure. He's liking games more and more, and yeah, especially games like this that's chaotic and silly and fun. Anything he can attack his brother and cause chaos. Yeah, Remy loves that stuff. Cool. Anything you want to add? Like usually we go through what you like, what you don't like. I mean, if you're like a serious hardcore Euro gamer,
this isn't for you.
And like this is probably not for you. This is borders on a party game, right? Like this is silly fun. You're playing. There's the toy factor there. You're moving little cars around. You're imagining like cars flipping around and shrapnel flying and cars on fire and ramps and all this stuff. Like that's the kind of game you're getting into, right? Is there anything you don't? I mean, I don't think there's much not to like about this game, other than like it might not be for you based on what it actually is.
Yeah, I think that's probably it. There isn't much to dislike about the game. I mean, it's a fun time. I think, and to that credit, you look at this game on the table, you know what you're getting into. Like you walk by this at a convention, you're like, oh, I know. I don't need to necessarily know the rules. I know what that game is, right? Like I'm not playing, an economic game, right? Like I got it. I think that's probably maybe the only critique is if you're expressly want to play heavy, if you want to play Lacerda, this is not going to be a Lacerda game. It's just not.
Yep, 100%. Cool. So we usually give a BGG type score, 1 out of 10. I'll do mine first. Give you a second to think about it, but I've got it at an 8.5, which is, for what the game is. You know what I mean? Like, if I want to play this kind of game, or if I want to play a silly game where I can have a laugh and mess with my friends and just like have a good time, if I'm with the right crowd, like this is the perfect game for a specific type of situation, right?
Right.
So yeah, I have it rated fairly high, and that's within this category of games, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like I probably have games that I like more than this, that I play more often, that would show up higher on a rank list, ranked maybe lower at an 8 or whatever, right? But for what this game is doing, I have it as an 8.5.
Man, I really think too, it's kind of in that sweet spot where you can play with your kids. So I think that maybe bumps your rating a little bit.
For sure,
too.
100%.
Like, oh yeah, it's pretty fun. Man, I always struggle to rate games because I always go like, well, what's the difference between a 7 and an 8 really? So in this case, I'm just going to give it an 8. I think an 80%, I think it's above average for again what it is. I think the production is really good on the game. I think too, one thing we didn't talk about, but if you are someone, so many people in the board game world are into the world of 3D printing and like deluxifying your components, you could go wild with this baby. You could build all the terrains out. You can, design your own cars for it. You can, any of that stuff that you want to do in that space. I think that this game is really going to lend itself to. I think even the stodgiest gamer, I swear, if you put them on this game, they're going to get a few laughs out of it. So I'm going to come in at an 8 on it. I think it's a solid 8.
Awesome. Cool. So an 8.5 for me, an 8 from Kevin. That is Thunder Road Vendetta. Okay, Kevin, let's get into the Mad Max stuff. So, the whole franchise we're going to talk about today. So, hopefully we won't go too long, but it's a super fun subject. And I'm a big fan of these movies. So, let's get into it. So they were released in, respectively, in 1979, 81, 85, and then 30 years later, in 2015, was Mad Max Fury Road. And then just recently in 2024, Furiosa was released. So they were all directed by George Miller, starring
it's somewhere in the middle of there. He managed to do Babe.
More on that in a moment. So starring in the original trilogy, starring Mel Gibson and Tina Turner are the notable names there. And then Fury Road had Tom Hardy as the titular Max, Charlize Theron, Nicholas Hoult, Zoe Kravitz, and Riley Keough are probably the notable names there in Fury Road. And then in Furiosa, we had Anya Taylor-Joy, Chris Hemsworth, and Tom Burke. And the synopsis is as follows. In the Mad Max franchise, it is a high-octane, engine-revving, full-throttle, pedal-to-the-metal ride through the Australian post-apocalyptic wasteland, a world of gas-guzzling machines, high-speed chases, and muscle-bound mayhem. From the man who also brought us Happy Feet 2, and Babe, Pig in the City, George Miller has spent nearly 50 years delivering 5 films that push the practical effects and stunt work far beyond the red line. So kind of a really interesting filmography there from George Miller.
Dude, I love Happy Feet though. Come on, Happy Feet's a banger. Like, that's a good movie. My nephew watched that about 1,000 times. It's so good. Your kids will love it. They'll love Happy Feet.
I think they have seen it, but I have not. I don't think I've watched either of those 3 movies. But I am still a big George Miller fan for what he's done with this franchise. And I don't know if you've seen 3,000 Years of Longing. Have you heard of that one? No, it came out just a couple years ago. Maybe before Furiosa. Must have been before Furiosa. Basically, it's Tilda Swinton and Idris Elba. And Tilda Swinton is in like a swanky hotel. She's like an uppity, very serious businesswoman. And Idris Elba plays a genie. So literally right there in her hotel room, she bought a little lamp trinket thing in a shop, and then in her hotel summons Idris Elba, who's this genie, a 3,000-year-old genie. And he basically proceeds to tell her the story of the different moments in his quote unquote life over the last 3,000 years. And it's a movie about storytelling, basically. And it's weird. It's strange and different. Not for everybody, but I really liked it. I thought it was underrated, and it's strange enough for the cinephile to kind of check out and see something different, if that interests you.
And that's a George Miller movie?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So he basically was like, how could I do I Dream of Jeannie, but not I Dream of Jeannie? I know, Idris Elba.
Perfect. And Tilda Swinton, yeah.
Well done, George Miller. You're a genius. I'll have to check it out.
I recommend it for sure. So one thing that I started doing recently is ask the question, is there a Wilhelm scream? Are you familiar with the Wilhelm scream?
Oh, yeah.
You are, okay.
I always listen for it in a movie. I don't recall hearing it in this one, though. Like, because it stands out. Yep, there it is. It's even in Star Wars. It's in so many movies. I don't think there's one in Mad Max.
You are correct.
Yeah.
I looked it up, and it is not in a single Mad Max movie at any moment. So the sound design team did not sneak it into that one.
Really dropped the ball. The ball on that one.
It's a weird thing that if I was a filmmaker, I'd be in my contract. It has to be in the movie, especially in a movie where there's so much chaos and bodies flying all over the place. Yeah. So you're correct.
I mean, if you're doing You've Got Mail and you put a Wilhelm scream in it, it's like, well, all right.
Yeah.
Now maybe when Harry met Sally, you know what I'm saying? Get that scream in there, boy.
Yeah, you're not going to see somebody on a New York street trying to flag down a taxi like over here. Oh. Cool. So where do we want to start with this? I'm thinking maybe we just go through the filmography. We start with the original. We have a quick chat about each of them, and then at the end we can kind of reveal our rankings and have a quick discussion about. Is that how you wanted to do that, or what are your thoughts?
Yeah.
Do it that way.
I love
okay.
that.
So we'll start with Mad Max, the original from 1979. I think it was Mel Gibson's first movie, or at least his first movie that got a wide release or got out to the general public. I've been talking a little bit here. Why don't you start us off with your general thoughts on the OG Mad Max.
Well, the thing I like about the OG Mad Max, and without getting into anything that might possibly give away my rankings, but like it sets these slightly. It feels weird to describe a movie that has as much like violence in it, and even like sexual assault and other like really not so good things as zany, but it has a zany sensibility to it, like a weird kookiness to it. Like you really hit the nail on the head talking about the different character names and like the version of the apocalypse it is. And the first Mad Max is probably the least apocalyptic out of them. Like, they kind of get more apocalyptic, if that makes sense, as the franchise goes on. This one, there's still like police officers of some law enforcement.
There's still civilization of some kind.
There's still an ice cream shop. Yeah. So like, I think that's probably, probably the thing that sticks with me, that and that interceptor, that like that car is so iconic. It comes back in numerous ways, but I think that's what really sticks with me with that one, is how it kind of sets the tone for the franchise to come, and also like how it's Mad Max, but like Max really isn't. He's mad for about 10 of it,
and he's barely in it in the first 45 minutes or something. Yeah,
right. Yeah, so yeah, I think there's some pros and cons. It does feel like a 70s low budget Australian movie. Like watching it, like you get all of that kind of carried through. So, and it's it's good. It's good.
Yeah, it's the Mad Max movie is the first one, and it sets the tone, but it is now, if you look back, it is the least Mad Max movie. Because if you think about what makes a Mad Max movie, you're talking about crazy cars, you're talking about crazy outfits, people like wacky characters. There's a little bit of that stuff, but it is the movie with the least amount of those things. And of course, the part that it does fulfill, especially considering its budget and the resources that they were able to, the lack of resources, I should say, and what they were able to pull off with that. The action and the car stunts are still fully there, right? And that's probably the main thing that makes a Mad Max movie. But secondary to that, you've got the crazy outfits, the crazy characters, and the crazy cars. And though there's a little bit of that stuff in it, it's definitely the Mad Max movie with the least of that stuff in it. I don't know if you agree with that. You seem to like have a little bit of a reaction there.
Yeah, but I'm going to hold off on that.
Fair enough.
As we get into the rankings, I would say too.
You might know where you're going with this, but yeah, okay.
watching the original Mad Max, I'm like, there is no way that safety was taken seriously on that film set. Like it is. Yeah. There are some stunts and like some driving in it and just stuff. You're like,
it is unbelievable. Yeah. The first two are just, in that category. Yeah. I think the first one serves as a decent like origin story. It's not like, when modern movies are made now knowing it's a franchise, when they do like an Iron Man or something.
Right.
They made that movie knowing this is an origin story, the whole thing. When Mad Max was made, it was not made as an origin story. It was made as a movie. Now it kind of serves that purpose. It doesn't, for me, wasn't, and maybe it's just because I saw, like, out of all the movies, I think the first one is the one I saw last.
Yeah.
Or no, maybe not. Maybe not. Like, it's the one I saw last of the original three for sure. Like the first one I ever saw definitely was Beyond Thunderdome. Just because I was born in 84. It came out in 85, right? And by the time I watched it because Mel Gibson was in it, and I was just a Mel Gibson fan into my teens or whatever. So I was already, I had already seen 2 and 3, and a part of the reason of that is because at the time you know, especially prior to like IMDb existing and Letterboxd and whatever, I didn't know what was what or which was which. Like Mad Max is first, is Road Warrior, which is which. And I had heard that Road Warrior was the one to watch. It's like the best one of the original and blah, blah, blah. So I watched that one. And then I probably, you know, then I'm like, okay, well, I may as well watch the original too. And just stunt wise and story wise, I don't think it quite lives up to the second one. And so I always had the first one as like in the shadow, I guess, of Road Warrior.
Yeah, I mentioned I watched all 5 of these, you know, chronologically.
That's an interesting, it's an interesting day.
In one day. It was funny. My wife, she's like, "Oh, Mad Max." But she had never. She thought Road Warrior was Mad Max 1. Like, she thought that was the first Mad Max. She had never seen the original. So, like, a lot of people, I think, kind of feel that way. You know, and the last thing I'll say about the original Mad Max is if you wrote that movie in 2026, you know, it's John Wick. It's every other revenge movie. His family's getting killed in the first 10 or 15 minutes. And then the rest of the movie is him getting revenge, right? Like, that's the story.
Mm-hmm.
In this just like, you know, you got the bad guys and they're going after some of the other cops, and then he decides he wants to quit being a cop and travel with his family, but the bad guys just happen to find him. And then, like, with 20 minutes left in the movie, that's when his family and his poor dog, you know, I'm always worried about the dog, gets murdered, you know, and it like just gets run over by a motorcycle. Like, I'm pretty sure it would have probably just sprained her ankle. But we're gonna, you know, unless it, like, I don't know, they backed up over or something. But anyway, him and his family gets killed at the end, and then he goes on his revenge spree. And you're like, if that movie was written in 2026 or any time, you know, in the subsequent or last 20 years, that's how that story would play. So I do think it's remarkably unique from that perspective.
That's true.
It has a very loose feel to it, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. It's not structured in a typical vengeance movie, because that's ultimately what it is if you look at the main plot points. But it's definitely not structured the way that you would expect it to be. Yeah. But you're right. The stunts, especially Toe Cutter's death at the very end when he gets run over and that big collision. That's some wild stuff to be happening with practical effects in 1979. Like, that is like unbelievable stuff.
And if I remember, he plays Immortan Joe, right? So, like, you know, all those years later, he's like, you know what? I'll do another movie with George. It's fine. No problem. Whatever.
It turns out he didn't actually get run over. In that scene. Yeah. Cause he came back to he was still alive. So that's pretty cool. I was really worried about him. Cool. Yeah. So that's some of our thoughts on Mad Max. Let's move on to Road Warrior, which I think will probably be closer to the top in our rankings. We'll see what happens there. But I thought the stunts, especially, and the action choreography and everything that happened
so good
on the roads in this, again, in 1981, 82 or whatever. And you mentioned that you listened to our Face Off episode. We talked a little bit about this, you know, of like, you know, like kids or people watch these movies today and they're probably not as impressed. And I have to remind myself when I watch older movies to be like, this is crazy. This is crazy what they're like. There's no CGI here. It didn't exist. You know, for any of this to happen, they had to just do it. You know, and it's wild what they're able to pull off.
One of my favorite stories about that. It's not about Mad Max. So I'm sure they have 100 stories like this, but in Days of Thunder, the really bad crash that happens to Cole Trickle, he, you know, when they shot it, they basically put a bomb in the car to explode so that it would roll like 600 times. And they put a guy in it. They put a stunt driver in it. And the stunt driver apparently got out and he went, I don't know if I can curse on this, so just bleep it out if you need to. But apparently he got out of the car and he just goes, yeah. Like, he was just so excited that he got blown up in this car. So these stunt drivers are really doing these stunts. You know, occasionally they would use models or miniatures or something like that. But you can always tell it on screen. And there's not to my eye, I didn't see any of that in Road Warrior. The stunts are rad. The story is probably the most cohesive of those early Mad Max movies. You know, he's trying to get some gas. He goes to, Gas Town. You know, he's got the guy in the helicopter that kind of takes him there. You've got the, oh gosh, what's Humongous? What is his name? Count Humongous or something like that? Who's like the big bad with the metal mask, and you got Fez.
Yeah.
And fun fact with this movie, have you ever seen Weird Science?
Yes.
The bikers at the end of Weird Science, Vez, the main, biker not with the metal mask, is reprising his role from Mad Max in Weird Science.
Oh, that's
at the
cool.
end of Weird Science. So same actor, whole 9 yards. So that's really cool. So they're kind of surrounding Gas Town, trying to get this big tanker full of gas. I think they call it gasoline in this franchise, right? And Mad Max is trying to get it. Who escapes, who doesn't, murder, all that sort of stuff. So. And the big escape at the end where he's driving again, the big rig. We bringing back big rigs. That's pretty awesome, man. There's so much to like about Road Warrior. Also, iconic, absolutely iconic shot where he's walking away, from the wreck, holding the sawed-off shotgun with that blue healer dog with him. It's like that's how I think I am. Like that's how I'd be in the apocalypse instead of just dead because I can't take care of myself. But I think that's how I'd be.
Yeah, it's definitely. When I feel like see this a lot in TV shows where the first 2, 3, 4 episodes, sometimes even the first full season, the creators are just figuring out what they are. They're just figuring out what this show is. And then they hit their stride, right? And they figure out what really works, right? The Office is a really good example of that, right? They weren't overly focused on Michael in that first season. And then they figured out he's the funniest character. Let's make him the main character. You get The Simpsons is another great example. The first season and a half or 2 or whatever were all focused around how bad Bart was. Bart was whatever, and then Homer would choke him, and that was hilarious. Well, then they figured out that Homer, and his dynamic is the funniest thing about that show, and then they focused on him. I feel like George Miller figured out what a Mad Max movie was during or post the first movie and into, Road Warrior, and started to put together these iconic scenarios, iconic vehicles, iconic characters, and really just go all the way. He didn't half-ass anything. He was going to go all the way with how crazy a character was and how much, how crazy a vehicle was. Let's put a helicopter in it. Let's put a feral child with a killer boomerang. All these unique things that could only exist in this universe. And this is where he really stepped into that stuff.
I love that boomerang scene where the feral child chucks the boomerang that he uses a metal glove to catch, and then the guy tries to catch it and just chops off his finger.
It's so good.
It's so wacky, man. There's so much to like in Road Warrior, and pacing is good. Tension is good.
It's by far the best written of that original trilogy for sure.
They kill the dog. I hate that. Let's not do that. Stop killing the dogs. You can kill the people. Just let that. That dog was a great performer too. There were a couple of times where the guy that plays the whirligig operator, and the dog's messing with him. You could tell he's legitimately a little afraid of that dog. He's this dog is. He's high strung, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they weren't messing around. They brought in a real performer with that dog. All right.
Yeah, and then even that location, we'll talk a little bit more about locations in now I've got so many words in my head. Thunder Road, Thunderdome. And beyond Thunderdome, we'll talk about some locations, but that gas town is just really cool, right? With the bus that moves and just the world building is so good. Especially again for a movie with low budget, made on a shoestring, just figuring it out as they went. I think what they accomplished in Road Warrior was phenomenal, especially for the time. Yeah, big fan of that one.
Yep.
Okay, let's move on to maybe the most interesting Mad Max movie, Beyond Thunderdome. So Beyond Thunderdome, basically at the beginning, I think he gets, what is it? He gets his car stolen, or he gets stuff stolen. It's been a while since I've seen that one.
This movie, I adore this movie. The plot of it is so bonkers. I'll give you just the 500-foot, so he's driving a caravan with camels. He gets his camels stolen by the whirligig operator again. I think it's the same performer from
Yes,
Road Warrior.
Which apparently not the same character.
Yeah, different character. The movies are all sort of like loosely, in the same world, but they're not really connected in that way.
Yeah, it's weird.
So he gets his camels and stuff stolen. They get taken to Bartertown. He follows them to Bartertown. He's trying to get his camels back. Tina Turner's character, Auntie, hires him. Bartertown, if you don't know Bartertown's
this is what I was
source,
alluding to when I was mentioning locations. I think Bartertown is so cool. It's
so
the best.
great.
It's the best.
Because you've got Bartertown and you got Underworld, and in Underworld is where all the energy is produced for Bartertown, which is methane from pig poop. So they process pig poop to power Bartertown, and Underworld is ran by Master Blaster. And you go, who's Master Blaster? Well, Master Blaster is actually two people. It's a little person who rides on a big person.
That's Master.
And one is Master and one's Blaster. Tina Turner's Auntie, who runs Bartertown, is insulted by Master Blaster, asserting that he runs Bartertown. So once Blaster, the big one, killed, so the little one, who's the brains of the outfit, sort of a Lenny George situation from Of Mice and Men, right?
Yep.
Just as tragic, if you ask me, frankly. Wants Max to kill him. He says, all right, fine. And then he doesn't kill him. And then he gets exiled on the wheel. And then he goes to the Island of Lost Children. And
this is when the movie falls off the rails for me.
It just goes... And then, like, some of the kids want to, they have this pseudo religion around this adult, Captain Walker, who left, who was a pilot, and they go in search of him, and Mad Max goes to save the kids and ends up in Bartertown. It is, spoiler, hey, I'm just going to ruin this movie. He helps all the kids take off in the plane with the whirligig operator. Presumably, there's a voiceover, so they all survive. Mad Max gets left behind, and Tina Turner's character has him surrounded. Could kill him, just goes, ain't we crazy? Ain't we a pair? Anyway, I'll see you later.
This was fun.
Man, Raggedy Man. That's what she calls him, Raggedy Man. It just leaves. I love Beyond Thunderdome. It's so weird.
I like it. I'm a big fan too, and I think it's underrated, if I'm honest. And
I agree.
But I love it for completely different reasons than I love the rest of these movies. It's not the same thing.
The Tina Turner songs. Tina Turner, these, you don't need another hero. So good. Yeah. Killer. One of the best songs from any soundtrack. And Tina kills it in this thing too, man. She's great. She's a great villain.
Yeah. She is a great villain.
The pitch for this movie. How much cocaine were they doing when they pitched and wrote this movie? Some. I'll tell you, not none.
Some. Not none. Yeah.
Exactly. Beyond Thunderdome, man.
Yeah, it's a blast. I think the world building in this is some of the strongest in the franchise. Bartertown is so cool. And then the Underworld too. The concept of all that is super fun. It's wacky. It's zany. It's all the things you want out of a Mad Max movie. It's so silly. And then obviously the titular Thunderdome scene is amazing and so much fun. Yeah, it's a movie that is extremely flawed, especially when you think about it too much. But that first half, especially before he goes to the Island of Lost Children, before all that stuff happens, it's some of the strongest stuff in the franchise. And then it falls off the rails quite a bit, in my opinion, when it gets into all the kids and all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
It loses the thread a little bit for me.
It's
so for that reason,
like,
it falls a little bit, but like it's like it just gains so much goodwill with me in that first half.
Yeah.
I still look at that movie really fondly. Yeah, big fan.
I think it's kind of the way episode 3 of Star Wars is. It's like you're like, this is really good. Why are there little teddy bears? Why do we suddenly have teddy bears? What are these? Come on, Ewoks, really? But then you love it.
Yeah, it's like a thing where once you get used to the idea and you're like, okay, it is what it is, and then you get used to it to the point where like, okay, Ewoks are just normal now,
right?
Because you're so used to it that like now if you watch Jedi, it's like, this is great, this is super fun. Yeah. Like, what's wrong with this? Why didn't people like this? You know, but it takes that time to get used to it, I think. But that there's a difference between like Jedi where they injected a really silly childish thing into it, but it was still well written, the plot was good, it was still well made and everything, whereas Thunderdome, I think like the writing and the story and the plot kind of falls apart.
Are you trying to tell me Beyond Thunderdome is not as good as Star Wars? I will not accept that. All right.
Yeah, it's better than some Star Wars, I'll tell you that, but we won't go there. We won't go there.
On that. We can agree on that. We don't want to dunk. We don't want to yuck on anybody's yum.
No, let's not go there today. All right. So now that is the original trilogy, and then 30 years later, I'll just come out and say it. George Miller comes out and makes maybe the best action movie of all time.
Yeah.
Like, it's in the conversation. You could argue with me that it's not but it's in the conversation. And I think it's as close to a masterpiece, a perfect movie that you can get. You know, it's hard to put into words how amazing it is. It just blows my mind. It's like unbelievable. I don't think it's a spoiler to say this is going to be my number one. And you said to me earlier today, we were messaging and getting ready, that your list might kind of ruffle some feathers. Yeah, and my only thought was like, you know what? As long as we can agree on number one, I'm probably not gonna argue with you too much. Boy, okay, we'll see where this goes.
I objectively think this is one of the best movies ever made. I saw this in the theater 5 times. That's how much I liked this movie.
I went back twice, I think. Yeah.
When I saw it the first time, and then I was like, I told my wife, I was like, you have to come see this movie. And like her and I both were just like wide-eyed watching this thing. The practicals, like the stunts, and it's a super simple plot. You don't need more than that. It's a spectacle. You like the characters. Charlize Theron is just fantastic. Just rewatching it, I was like, I love everything she's doing. Like, it's just so good, you know. And it's just Carmageddon. It's 2 hours of Carmageddon, and you can't top it. It's so hard to put into words how great that movie was. And like you talk about the world building. The world building is fantastic. You know, you got this weird Citadel world where, you know, Morton Joe runs it. He's got his weird kids, he's got these brides, he's got, you know, the mommy milking
mothers,
and like weird, you know, all these food sources, the idea of these battle rigs that traffic the wasteland so they can get their goods from one community to another, and like how shaped and interesting those communities end up being. Like, all of that is just really, really, really cool. I love it. It's a great movie.
Yeah, it's probably a top 5 movie of all time for me. I was a fringe Mad Max fan. I like them. I thought they were really good. I was like really impressed with the practical effects and all that stuff. You know, but I wasn't like a Die Hard. I wasn't like George Miller, whatever. You know, maybe at the time I didn't even know George Miller's name until Fury Road came out. I'm like, oh yeah, same. Oh, was it the same director? Oh, the guy's name is George Miller. Okay, cool. Like that was probably the vibe, you know. And then like now George Miller is like, you know, maybe one of my favorite directors, and primarily for one movie. Like, you know, I'm a huge fan of a couple of the others, but like, this movie is unbelievable. You talk about world building. I think that's one of the biggest strengths of this movie. You know, you're absolutely right. The Citadel is really cool. And like, I rewatched it last night just because like I wanted to like refresh the world building and just the general vibe of the franchise. And I'm like, this is the one I have to watch. I want to say like I watched them all within the last year because one of my favorite podcast is Blank Check with Griffin and David. I don't know if you're familiar. They do, so it's called Blank Check because it's about directors who had early success in their careers and were given a series of blank checks to do whatever passion projects they want. That's literally like the opening line of their podcast. So they'll do mini series covering directors, and they'll go episode by episode and discuss in 2, 3, sometimes 4-hour conversations about each movie. And they did George Miller about a year ago. Whenever they cover a director I'm really interested in, I will kind of do the whole thing with them, quote unquote. Like I'll watch each movie and then listen to the whole episode and then whatever. So I rewatched all of the Mad Max movies in the last year. And yeah, I wanted to just watch one of them at least, you know, in the days coming up to this podcast, and it had to be Fury Road. It's just by far my favorite, and that one of the opening shots after the crash, they show us that kind of courtyard at the Citadel where all the people gather, and where the like platform comes down with the big rig on it.
Like the mole people with human meat in the holes are down there.
Yeah.
And
there's some
that's where the
weird
water
ass
gets
stuff in
dumped out.
there,
It's
man.
wild.
Yeah. But there's a shot where you see the crowd of people below, and that platform is either coming up or going down with the big rig on it. I think it's going up at that point. And you just kind of zoom out and you see the Citadel in the background, and then the crowd, and then that platform with the vehicle on it. And I'm like, this is movie making, you know, at the highest possible form of movie making. It's just like, so great. And we haven't even gotten to any of the action, any of the like characters yet, really. We haven't met anybody. It's just like, it's so gorgeous. It's so beautiful. The colors are vibrant. Yeah. And then like, there's so many just iconic sequences in this movie, right? Like even the opening sequence where he crashes his car and it flips like a million times and then lands right in front of the camera is so cool. And one really neat thing about that scene, I watched a making of Mad Max Fury Road 20-minute thing on YouTube. Highly recommend you check it out. It's fascinating. And there's a whole bunch of them, actually. One of them is specifically just about the cars. Some of them are about the action. Some of them just about the general. But anyways, they were talking about that scene, and the main stunt coordinator. If you remember in Road Warrior, there's a guy on a motorcycle and he hits a car at full speed and is supposed to jump off the motorcycle, clear the car, and go flying across. And instead, his shins hit the car and he breaks both of his legs in that scene, I think. But his shins hit the car, and he, instead of just flying through the air, he flips through the air. He does like 2 full 360 flips through the air with 2 broken legs, I think it was. At least 1 broken leg. That same guy has been George Miller's stunt coordinator and was the main stunt coordinator on Fury Road. And he's the one that drove the car for the bookends of Fury Road. So he did that crash. He was in the car when that happened, and they loaded a big hydraulic press, basically like an explosive press on one side of the car. And then he would turn just at the right time, trigger that thing. And then the car flipped and flipped and flipped. So that guy did that scene, and then he did the big scene at the end where the big speaker machine with all the like speakers and heavy metal guitar player and all that, when that crashes into the big rig at the end, he was driving that vehicle as well. But I just thought that was fascinating that the guy from like Road Warrior that broke his legs on that crazy stunt was the main stunt coordinator and did a bunch of the stuff in Fury Road. But yeah, so like that opening scene is super iconic, like him running through the Citadel away from the War Boys and then jumping and then grabbing onto that hook thing, and like it's so visceral, and you're like looking down going, whoa, like that's freaking so high and whatever. I don't know, the pole cats is something that like we have to talk about. It's some of the, like, to think of that, like George Miller said he was watching a circus performance where they had poles like that, and he's like, I'm gonna put that on a car. It's gonna be the coolest thing like, that ever existed on a screen.
And the touches are like, the counterweight is, I think it's a transmission out of a car, or it's an engine, one or the other, is like the counterweight to pull them back the other direction. It's just so cool, like such cool touches like that they kind of make throughout the, you know, the movie. So yeah, I love it.
And every single stunt in that movie is real. Every car, every polecat, every, like when Tom Hardy ends up upside down hanging on to one of those polecats and his head's almost touching, like that's real. They did that. You know, they probably didn't do it at quite the speeds that it looks like, because some of the stuff sped up and there's whatever other effects in there, but like they did all those things. And yeah, it's just mind blowing. I looked it up real quick because I remember watching at one point, I think I had the DVDs or the Blu-rays or whatever, and I watched all of the special features and the making ofs and all that stuff. I don't have that anymore because the physical media just isn't a thing anymore, but I wanted to look it up. And in the production for Mad Max Fury Road, they built exactly.
I don't know if you know this, but I have a giant bin of DVDs.
Do you? Okay.
That we pull movies out of randomly, and we do on Uncle Doug's DVD bin. So in our world, physical media still exists, but that's mostly because we spend our time at the flea market.
Yeah, I highly doubt you'd be able to find a copy of Mad Max Fury Road on DVD. Maybe on Blu-ray. Blu-ray for sure.
Let me look around. I'm going to look around. I'll let you know what I find.
But yes, they built, like physically, literally built 150 unique drivable vehicles for Fury Road.
Man.
88 distinct designs. So war rigs, the doof wagon is what they call the big one with all the speakers, the motorcycles, the car with the like tank tracks on it.
Yeah. The double stacked Cadillac.
Yes, that one's so cool.
So cool.
And Morton Joe's like bug that has like the monster truck bug that he drives around. Yeah. There's just so many wicked vehicles that just like blow your mind.
Good news, you can get Mad Max Fury Road on DVD
on
for
$6
and
oh well, there you go. Is there also a not a VCR, but can I also buy a DVD player to go with that?
Oh, yeah. Dude, I'll send you one, man. I got 2 DVD players. I got you, dude. I got a DVD VCR combo, man.
Oh well, there you go.
That's actually I have original. They're not the original 3, but without the George Lucas added stuff, copies of Star Wars.
No way. What is that worth?
Probably. I mean, you could probably get them reasonably.
Yeah.
The ones that are really sought after are Laserdisc, I believe, because that's like the highest quality that you can get of those close to original cuts of the movies. But they say that the theatrical cuts of those are actually gone to the wind. But whatever, they're in some vault somewhere. It'll turn up.
Yeah, it really is a shame that when you watch that original trilogy, that there's all that weird CGI stuff that sticks out like a sore thumb.
Some of it I like, I don't need that.
Like the Jabba stuff is really rough.
Yeah, like where he steps on his tail, you're like, so. But like, there's some stuff in there. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, whatever. Just you compare that to the practical effects of Fury Road or like any of the Mad Max stuff, and it's like really practical. There's just no comparison to a good practical effect. Just like, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much more we want to talk about Fury Road. I could go all day.
How about we talk about Furiosa?
Furiosa, yeah. So Furiosa is an interesting one. Also, first of all, bombed at the box office, which is
Crazy.
really crazy. And like, it's hard to believe that people didn't come out in droves after Fury Road. Like, you looked at the trailers for Furiosa after Fury Road, and you're like, I have to go see this in theaters. Like, I have to. I don't understand what happened. It's really a shame.
I don't either. I rewatched it again for this, and I was like, this movie is awesome. I think
it's great.
And listen, I'm not trying to be too on the nose with this, but I think sexism played a lot of part in it, because they're like, it's a female led action movie.
Yeah.
And then maybe some of that had to do, because the movie's awesome. The performances, the young actress that plays like young Furiosa,
amazing,
so good,
amazing,
she's so good. And like that opening action sequence, she's getting like snatched up. You know, her mom's chasing the guys. She's got the sniper rifle. Like she's picking people off. I do have a quibble with this movie, and it's I don't like Chris Hemsworth as a bad guy. Like it's not like he's a bad
disagree.
actor. It's not like I think he's a bad actor. I don't think this is a total personal bias. He's just too much of a good guy. Like he's, muscular.
You can't see past that.
Yeah, like I can't. And he,
but the nose, they did the nose thing.
They did a nose. Oh
they did
God,
the nose.
Wow. Yeah, he's so hideous. Yeah, ugh, disgusting.
Gross.
Right? Like for whatever reason, I just had a hard time seeing him as a bad guy in this, which is unfortunate. I do think that portion at the end where like she's finally got him and she's like, touring with him a little bit, and that
he's
probably
so
goes
pathetic.
A little longer.
He's so pathetic.
Yeah, and it just goes a little longer than it needs to, I think. But like those are absolutely minor quibbles. This movie is awesome. Like the action sequences are great. Like you get more of the world building because you see like the bullet farm and like Gastown really fleshed out, and like it has more of that kind of zaniness to it.
Yeah.
It's really good. It's really good.
Yeah, I'm on the same page as you. I think I love Chris Hemsworth as a villain. I think he was great. I loved that character. I thought he was amazing, and you won't convince me otherwise. But you are entitled to
bias.
You are fully entitled to your opinion, even if it's wrong. But I'm a big fan of that performance. And I think the movie is really solid. Like right up until they kind of yada war. There's like a whole like 40 days and 40 nights of war or something like that. There's a line. Yeah. And so they kind of yada that war. Sorry, I'm just looking for something here. And then after that, they sort of just have that denouement of her like chasing him through the desert, and then it kind of like ends a little bit on a whimper.
Yeah.
But like other than that, and I didn't dislike that last 20 minutes. In fact, I liked the composition of it all. It just felt like there was a weird time jump there that kind of threw me off a little bit, that I didn't fully, I don't know. It didn't fully work for me. But otherwise the rest of the movie I thought was fantastic. Like that opening desert chase scene with Furiosa's mother chasing the two goons is such a beautifully technically like paced out tactical chase sequence. I thought it was so brilliant. The stuff of them like, stopping just over a ridge and then her grabbing the sniper rifle and then like taking the wheel off and the gas and like all this little tactical like, games that they're playing with each other to try to lose one another. I just thought it was so cool and so smart. And like, it's just always cool to see somebody be really, really good at, something like, what do you call it? Like
savant?
No, just like when somebody's really good at something, it's just there's a word
me,
for it.
I'm good at everything.
Yes, like the whole Kevin of it all, you know.
I wish that was true.
Competency is the word I was looking for. It's like it's competency porn, right? Like when you watch Jason Bourne tactically put together something and grab his stuff and like carefully walk through a place and avoid cameras and whatever, and you just watch somebody be so tactically competent at something. And there was some of that in that scene that I was just eating it up. And and then we meet the Chris Hemsworth character, and and the big thing with this that I thought was really good was it expanded the world. It was like we had the one really great, I mean, maybe two really great action sequences. The one that was just like the staple of like the war rig going down the highway, and then we got like the big parachute like squid thing, and the motorcycles, and like, so we got a lot of really cool stuff that you kind of want out of a Mad Max movie. And then we got the Bullet Town sequence where they kind of go down into that canyon, and all that stuff was fantastic. Other than those two sequences, it wasn't the pedal to the metal, grindhouse like action that we're used to seeing. I like it for a slightly different reason, which was like expanding the world a little bit, giving us a little bit more understanding of how this all takes place and the trading between the places and all that stuff. I kind of like it surprised me the first time that I saw it. But then when I took a step back and I thought like, that's kind of interesting to see a little bit more of the world and all that stuff. But you're right. The performance from that little girl was amazing. And Anya Taylor-Joy, I think, really pulled it off too.
Yeah.
As a young Charlize Theron type.
That's tough. Yeah, that's tough because Charlize Theron was so good in that role. So it's really tough to come to that. And one of the things that I liked about it too, as a prequel to Mad Max Fury Road, is like, just as an example, like how characters are in the first one and the second one. So like the very early in Mad Max Fury Road, there's a doctor that hooks up a doctor in the Citadel, whatever that's worth in that particular apocalyptic world. I don't know where he got his
organic mechanic.
Not Stanford. Yeah, organic mechanic. He hooks him up as a blood bag to go with, the main war boy. And that doctor is in Furiosa, and he is the doctor that's with Chris Hemsworth's character, and then he gets left with Immortan Joe. So like he has a little journey through those two movies, and you can see that with several of the characters. So as a prequel, it's a really nice homage to Fury Road, which I liked a lot. It's a great movie.
Yeah, it's really good. The one scene I want to like that I think sticks out in my head as being like that I thought was really, really cool, and again added to the world building and added to the character building, specifically of Immortan Joe, was the scene where Chris Hemsworth and his gang shows up at the Citadel and basically threatens them and says like, he basically like, give me all of the power or we're going to take over. We're going to wage war right here and we're going to take everything because we are badass or whatever. And then Immortan Joe pulls this flex move and basically just yells at one of the war boys, and that war boy just dives to his death with a bomb, with one of those like sticks, I think it was, or something, and just like blows up a section of his like entourage. Like, and just the flex of like telling somebody to commit suicide, bomb somebody in a moment like that. It wasn't a premeditated thing. It wasn't like, okay, like we're going to go do this thing. And then like what, it was just like in that moment, I told the war boy to do this and he just did it, did not question it. And like, that's such a huge flex. And I love that moment.
Not only does he lets Chris Hemsworth's crew pick the war boy. He's like, pick one of them.
Yeah.
He picks the guy and he's like, all right, you know what to do. And the guy sprays his mouth with the stuff and says, witness me. And
witness
jumps
me.
off. And
I am wanted in Valhalla. Yeah.
That's so good.
Yeah. All that stuff is so cool. And I just loved that touch of the character building of Immortan Joe and what he's capable of and the amount of power he wields over these people. like just so cool. Like I just remember thinking like that's such great writing, like such great writing. All right, should we any other final thoughts on Furiosa before we get to our rankings?
Now let's rank these bad boys.
So you just want to start at 5 and work our way down?
Yeah, and I think maybe let's do our 2 and 1 together, because once you know the 2, you're gonna know the 1. So you might as well do them both together. So yeah, absolutely, man. Why don't you kick us off?
All right. So my number 5 is the original Mad Max. It is my least favorite, but I still enjoy it a lot. Like, keep in mind, like, if we're ranking these, we usually use like a 5-star thing. I still have that as a 3-star. Like, I very much enjoyed it, and I'm a fan of it. But it's just my least favorite of these really good movies. Nice.
Well, this is probably gonna upset you.
If you see Fury Road, I'm just ending this, and I'm not putting it out. I'm not publishing it. I don't even know where you live, but I am coming for you.
Come on down. We'll play some games. It'll be fun. No, it's not. It's not Fury Road. I put Furiosa, a Mad Max saga, at 5. And
that
now
this is
our personal rankings. So again, let's take that all into consideration. I'm not saying one movie's better. I'm saying these are my personal rankings, and I cannot rate a Mad Max movie any higher that does not have but like a small cameo from Mad Max. I hate to be that pedantic.
There is,
but he has one little cameo.
Well, that's what you said. That's what you just said.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was saying. Like, there's not enough Mad Max in this movie for it to be ranked above 5. It's got to be at the bottom of the list. I think this is a great movie. Arguably, it is much better than movies that I ranked higher than it. But we are talking about a Mad Max movie. If you had said Furiosa, I'd have been like, okay, that's it. But you put Mad Max Saga in there. I'm sorry. I got to put it at a 5. I'm going to be that guy.
That's fair. And you talked about the reason it bombed is maybe had a little bit of like sexism in it because it had a female lead. Fury Road is just as much about Furiosa. I would argue more about Furiosa. And I think Furiosa might even have more lines and more screen time.
But you don't know that from the trailer or the movie poster.
And you don't even realize that watching it until like way later if you really think about it.
In the seats.
Yeah. So if they had called Furiosa just like, the Vendetta of the Thunder Road, and then if you had give it just some random title, Master Blaster or Meat Flute, whatever.
Right.
And then just like didn't really tell people, I wonder if it would have performed a lot better. It's just a thought.
Yeah.
All right. My number 4 is Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. We talked about it already. I think the first half is like excellent. And then the second half or the last act really falls apart for me, but I still have so much fun with the world building in that one, and especially the first half, and that Thunderdome itself and Tina Turner. There's just lots to love with that movie. So that's my number 4.
I am coming in with a number 4 of just Mad Max. The original Mad Max is a number 4 for me. It's got more Mad Max in it, so I like that. Other than that, like it's a little kooky. It's not the best movie. It's really uneven. It's really loose. But the action's solid, and it lays the groundwork for what's going to come later. So
yeah,
I gotta come in at number 4 on it. It just doesn't. There are many of these Mad Max movies that I would watch over and over again. This one I would be good if you were like, hey man, don't ever you can't ever watch that one again. I'd be like, okay, fine. I don't like it, but fine.
It's the least rewatchable of them all for sure. I would agree with that for sure. Cool. Okay, so my number 3 is Furiosa, the Mad Max saga. So yeah, I liked it quite a bit. I had it at 4 stars, I think is where I have it. I just had a total blast with it. I thought it was really interesting. I loved Chris Hemsworth. I think that's a big point of contention for a lot of people. It's like if you're on board with him as the villain and what he's doing there, because he's definitely doing a lot. So I definitely understand if people like don't jive with that. But like if you do jive with that, that movie sings. And if you don't, I can totally see it kind of falling for a lot of people. So Furiosa, Mad Max Saga is my number 3.
And I'm coming in with a number 3 of Road Warrior. Man, these, you know, you pick any given day, these 3 might be able to change their ranking, because Road Warrior is so good. Like I talked about, I love the pacing of it, the action, like the practical effects, the just no concern for safety. We're just gonna do these stunts, and whatever happens. It's fine. We're Australian. We don't care.
I would love to see a list of injuries, you know, for each movie in this franchise, because I bet there's lots.
And I like
waivers were signed.
And this is the first Mad Max movie to, you know, obviously it's the second one or whatever in terms of chronological. One that me, I started to like some of the characters, or like,
yes,
you know, enjoy what they were doing with the characters, like the bad guys, you know, big muscular guy with an iron mask, you never see his face. The bikers are, you know, weird, and like, you know, the people that live in, you know, the gas town or whatever, you've got the, you know, they don't trust Max, you've got weird quirky people in the town, and I just really started to like, you got the whirligig dude, like you just kind of start to like the characters in the movie and kind of get what the franchise is about. So I think this is a strong movie, and it's going to come in at a 3 for me.
Yeah, it's my number 2. So yeah, it's my second favorite of the Mad Max movies, primarily for that world building is great. I think that became a major priority for George Miller, I think, between the first and second one, because the first one was a lot more similar to, like, you know, a modern day 70s. Obviously, it still wasn't exactly modern day, but like you had governments and you had organizations and you had like streets and laws and police and stuff. And so I think when he went to do Road Warrior, world building had become a major priority for him. And that's when he started to get really just have a lot of fun with locations and with characters. You know, whether it's the feral child, the helicopter guy, the main villain whose face we never see, but we do see his butt cheeks quite a bit.
Oh yeah.
You know, like the characters really stand out.
I forgot about the amount of butt cheeks in that movie. Maybe I need to rank it up a little higher. There's a lot of butt cheeks in that one.
Yeah. So yeah, the Road Warrior, the second of the Mad Max movies, is my second favorite Mad Max movie.
All right. And number 1's
Fury Road. Yeah, it's one of my all-time favorite movies. Period. It's a movie that I walked out of the theater just shaking, just vibrating, being like, I cannot believe what I just saw. And yeah, immediately went back in and saw it, you know, a few days later. That movie came out 10, 11 years ago now. I've probably watched it at least that many times. At least once per year, I've watched that movie. It's amazing. I watched it last night and it still absolutely blew my mind. It's like every time I watch it, I can't believe what I'm seeing. It's just so incredible. The crashes and the stunts and everything is practical. That's one of the things that just like every time I watch it, I'm like watching for details. I'm watching all the little things and I'm seeing new things. And I'm like, cannot believe what they were able to pull off. And if you, I'm actually part ways through reading. I don't remember what it's called, but it's a book about the making of Fury Road. And I'm only in the first handful of chapters, but this movie was an absolute complete nightmare to make. The amount of labor that went into it, again, 150 vehicles, like unique vehicles were made, 88 unique designs of vehicles. You know, the amount of work they had to put in to just pull this off in the desert is incredible. So yeah, Fury Road, one of my all-time favorite movies, probably top 3, 4, 5 movie of all time, period. So yeah, had to be my number one.
I agree with you. Fury Road is so good. That's why it's my number 2. It's my number 2 movie. Again, saw it 5 times in the theater. Really loved it, but I had to, for all the reasons you said, you're so eloquent. I had to rank Beyond Thunderdome.
What is wrong with you?
My number,
you can't even say it. You can't even say it, Kevin.
Beyond Thunder, and the reason, and listen again, this is my personal rankings, and number 1, it was the first Mad Max movie I've seen, and it is just so weird. It is just so weird. You talked about like when he goes to the island of misfit children, like, you know, that movie, it falls. I'm like, no, it's just starting. Like, I like how weird that is. Like, why does he end up there? He punches a teenager, like, girl for some reason. Like, it's just so weird. And like the pig poop town. Like, I gotta rank it number 1. And Tina Turner, oh my God, she's like one of my favorite villains. The original songs she wrote for that movie are so good. I love Beyond Thunderdome. There is no time that you could say, I'm going to put on Beyond Thunderdome, and I'd be like, I don't want to watch that. Like, they're bungee fighting in the Thunderdome. We didn't even talk about that. And it makes no sense that they decide to bungee fight other than, like, it's fun. And people are getting, like, stabbed that are on the sidelines and nobody moves.
Like oopsie stabs. People just get accidentally murdered.
Dude, I love it. Has Mel Gibson's most mullety mullet before Lethal Weapon.
Oh my God.
I just,
so
there
bad.
is so much to love about Beyond Thunderdome. So that's why it comes in as my number 1 Mad Max.
Kevin!
I'm so mad at you right now. I had to have Catherine O'Hara yell at you from beyond the grave. I respect your opinion, but I completely disagree with you. But hey, if you love it that much, so be it.
If I were gonna get a Mad Max tattoo, it would be a Master Blaster tattoo from Beyond Thunderdome.
That's a choice, my friend. That is a choice.
A strong one.
Well, this was a ton of fun. I'm so glad you decided to join me on the podcast. Thanks, Kevin. Is there anything you want to say to the Dice Camera Action faithful before we sign off here?
No, man. Just thanks for having me and thanks for hanging out. Had a great time. Really appreciate it. Get some games played and watch a couple flicks, man.
For sure. Are you going to Gen Con this year?
No, not this year.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to be able to make it this year.
Nice.
I didn't last year, so yeah, I'm asking a lot of the people that I only know online as an opportunity to maybe meet some of these people face to face. So right on. Okay, well, good enough. Thank you again, Kevin. This was a lot of fun, and folks. If you're enjoying the podcast, please take a few minutes to rate, review, subscribe, whatever platform you're listening on. You could follow me on Instagram at Dice Camera Action Pod. And if you want to give any feedback or comments, or would like to suggest a movie game pairing, email us at dicecameractionpod@gmail.com. Again, thanks Kevin from Blue Peg, Pink Peg, and Uncle Doug's DVD Bin for joining me on Dice Camera Action. This was a blast.
Thanks, man.
Take care.